Alright, welcome back. Hello again. We return to the Sunday organization, Sunday Shenanagins. We don't have a team name yet, but we're getting there. Session 16, Revenge is Sweet. Last time we left off, the party fluffed around for a little bit in town, doing some last-minute confirmations of rules, meeting a few folks, and getting a couple of last-minute items before heading off really on their quest. As the party headed out towards the smallest and loneliest mountain far to the west, almost immediately they'd find themselves, after 7 days of travel, coming into the territory of what appeared to be some sort of powerful and fast zombie wyvern. Fortunate for the party, as they'd find their ship tackled, grappled, and thrown to the ground. They'd fight to the best of their ability, though at the same time finding what appeared to be a young adult dragon, or skeleton dragon, that was willing to assist with the wyvern. As the party ended up fighting both, it did not go well, as though Eider held his own for as long as he could, finally his luck did run out in getting bit, with Kezenok being thrown from the ship and Ned and Dom basically having to run and debunk. The party managed to, in a sense, survive, but having to abandon their ship and almost abandon each other. They ended up coming back after the creatures had been driven off, in a sense flying away after the ship had been left alone. The party would soon after find themselves aboard the ship, retreating and falling back to a small opening in a cave on top of a mountain, just enough to hide their ship, but still allow them to land without issues. We come back to the party, having spent a week to think about that encounter out of game, and in game only a few hours since we last left off. You lot have been sitting here for about 3 hours now. Eider, who seemed to have disappeared down below into his room, almost instinctively vanishing as the ship landed. You lot found yourselves almost left alone entirely, thinking and contemplating the situation. Ned down below in the cargo with of course, Fluey, Shuey, and Julie. Dom and Kezenok left up on the captain's deck to consider the situation of their own right and their own ability. As you lot come back together, 3 hours having passed, as Eider finally sounds over the horn to gather everyone up at the top deck. A hammer in hand now, you all kind of gather around.
I just figured I'd make it known I would also have used one of those hours as meditation and...
Oh yeah, switching up spells and shit.
No worries.
Dom meditated just to reduce his stress levels.
Reasonable, very reasonable.
Just some nice monk meditation.
Namaste.
Namaste? Hey, dude. Alright, so.
Namaste insane, my guy.
So, we're in this cave.
Yep.
We're still in the Frost Giant lands, correct?
Technically, yes. It's Utham's territory by claim alone, though. There's no army. There are no towns this far west. You're only about what you'd guess is roughly about a 4 days travel by airships to the other mountain.
Mm-hmm. So as we're in this cave, are there any exposed ore, like silver, perhaps?
From the little bare minimum lighting that you can see within, give me a search check.
Would you allow me to throw a light spell?
Sure.
Alright, cool. Search.
Let there be light.
Search. I don't have anything. I don't have a bonus to search at all. Okay.
Do you need assistance?
With my Eye of Sauron dice to help me see things, 17. But with my light spell, by all means, y'all. I mean, that's up to the DM, but please look with me if you wish.
I would love to, as I'm a dwarf with stone cunning. Or
yeah, you're a better fit for this.
Actually, as I have improved stone cunning.
Damn.
Shit.
I am the stone cunning.
This man loves
Most
rocks.
cunning of stone.
Feel free to roll.
If looks could cut stone, you got it, dude.
He could see silver from a mile away. He can sniff it out. He's like a drug dog.
A
He'll find
bloodhound,
it.
but with metal. With stone.
Everyone talks about how copper has a taste, but did you know silver has a smell?
God damn it.
Bet you didn't.
Ida, what'd you roll?
Sorry, I was double checking on the bonus that the improved stone cutting gives me.
No worries.
Second. Damn it! Fucking hell, this sheet won't give me the information unless I'm in edit, and won't give me the ability to roll unless I'm not.
All
right, fuck it. It's 24.
24. As you and Kesnok kind of climb up close to the windows of the pilot near the pilot's seat and looking out, you do see that the cave does somewhat sparkle from within. As you kind of look about, the metal isn't very familiar. At first, it seems to sparkle a silvery color, almost as if it looks to be silver. Is pretty much all you can manage to get, Kesnok. It's you're not as familiar with the materials in the area, and the cold and ice that seems to build up inside the cave seems to give almost a reflection that kind of takes away from the metal's true color. As it seems to be kind of slightly distorted from the light. Eider, you catch a couple of glimpses. There's something else in the metal that is causing the silver to almost blacken a little bit in spots. It's only for a moment when the light spell seems to hit it just right, or you move your viewing around. You're able to catch glimpses of a shadow that seems to almost be absorbing the light spell, or the light from the spell.
It's lyrium. No, I don't know.
Well, admittedly, I think I did hear about like black lyrium being a thing, and given some of my more recent.
It is a thing. In character, you wouldn't be as familiar with the material, but as far as it goes, I will get about right. You are not sensing any sort of magical aura that would immediately give that kind of lyrium would give off a lot of magic presence.
Okay, gotcha.
Like to the point where you wouldn't have to really even know magic to really see it.
Oh, I know. They're blasting diamonds. No, I'm joking. There's no sulfur around here.
Hey, Dom would be able to identify them pretty well, I think.
Right.
I have some experience.
Yeah, I think I'd like pull out like a good like chisel and hammer, go up to the wall and like try and search around for like some of the null black portions of metal, and try and like chip it off to be able to have a better look at it.
Yeah. Do you have a proficient miner or craft metalworking at all?
Yeah, I've got armor smith, weaponsmith, all that fun shit.
Tell you what, give me, let's say, we'll use just a general craft check for this one, because this wouldn't fall under weapon or armor harvesting, but it would fall under how to handle the materials and what you're digging out, so I'll give you for your bonus for your craft check.
Okay. So, 14.
14? Okay. Oh, you rolled in general, I see. I was like, wait.
Yep. I did the same thing you did. No!
Yeah, as you
Now
go...
the whole world knows your role.
Right. As you go kind of climb out of the ship, climbing above deck and getting up on the front end of it, managing it close to the wall, you start to carve away at some of it. You manage to get a couple of pieces. They're not big enough that you think you'd actually make anything out of as you kind of polish or wipe them down off the dirt and rock off of the chunks of ore that you're able to pull out. It's solid, as it seems to be its own since chunk of rock. You're able to almost completely remove anything around it with ease. But as you kind of pull or get a couple pieces out, there's about enough to make 5-ish ball bearings, from what you can tell. The metal is like pitch black, and the closer it gets to the light spell, the more it seems to absorb the magic itself, seeming to create a dark shadow around it.
Jesus. Actually having like it in my hand, do I recognize anything about this, or is this just like
you've never seen metal like this before? This has never been reported on.
Metal of black, what the fuckism? There we go.
It'd be so wild if it was Aventium, but I doubt it.
It is not purple. It does look almost like silver before the light gets near it. So just as a note, the darkened color seems to come the light closer it gets to the light.
I try heating it up real fast, just to spot check, like if it takes heat or if it also like absorbs that as well.
Yeah. Are you just using heat metal?
Well, I do have a dragon breath, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't just breathe on it with fire.
All right. As you look down and start breathing onto the metal, you watch as it seems to glow for a second and then absorb the heat, almost completely chilling to the touch as soon as the breath dissipates.
Well, that's weird. On the plus side, we do have a lot of silver around here. Kez, do you fancy spending the night?
What's another day?
Well, not much should be. Dom, I couldn't help notice the dragon seems fiercely resistant being punched, which is unusual.
And the problem, yes.
Just got a nod. Kez has the means, I think, to make holy water. At the very least, it should give us some backups.
Anything you spellcasters can give me to allow me to be of use in this fight, I will take. Otherwise, I'm mostly just good as a distraction or aid until I find people who are living and mortal. And as Dom says this, he starts like cracking his knuckles and getting like kind of a dark look in his eye. But against the wyvern and the dragon, no, I don't think I will be of much service. Regretfully.
Dom, would you consider yourself to be dexterous?
Quite.
Good.
What, may I ask what the inquiry is for specifically?
Well, just as a curiosity of how good you are at moving across slick ice.
I have moved across much terrain that is unsteady and uneven. If you were to be able to magically conjure ice or something else that is slick, I should hold my footing unless I am to be unlucky. But let us hope we all will not be unlucky.
Thumbs up.
Tom kind of just nods.
Well, if you need me, I just like starts like shooting down. I just like pulls out like like a crowbar or like some chisels and starts just getting to work on the fucking wall of this cavern.
All right. Yeah.
You want any help?
Sure, go for it. I mean, I'm just like singing a bunch of dwarven songs, having a time of my life. Diggy diggy hole.
Because I can
Damn
deal
it.
with the materials after you get them forged by like polarizing the silver.
Can
Yeah, because it does have to be powdered for the bless water.
a shame.
So we can
Unless you
assembly line
want,
this bitch.
Well, what was your idea, Dom? Speak your mind.
Oh, I had an idea out of character that I wanted Dom to check on unless you guys need his assistance. I wanted to investigate the lucky cart that had survived with no damage in the attack and see if Dom could reassess the ship and see if there was a way to get it out or otherwise maybe chip some of the paint off. Specifically, I'm wondering if we could break glass, get it out, and potentially mend the glass again. Basically, just assessing our seemingly indestructible vehicle.
So to make clear,
And-
you're going to purposely damage the ship, currently, and see how much it can repair.
No. I'm assessing how reasonable that would be. Dom's just inspecting, and he's also likely going to try to test to see. I'd probably have to borrow a knife from someone, but see if the chip can be like scraped off and reused, or if the cart is fully like impervious to any and all damage.
Okay.
Oh, so you're checking damage to the cart, not damage to the ship.
I could check damage, the ship for damage. The cart I already saw last session in a giant wyvern tooth stabbed into the wheel did nothing. So it is, as far as Dom is aware, the ship is impervious to damage, physical damage, which
Yeah, that was
means
lucky.
it's. I say it could just be a fluke, but as far as Dom's aware, it's the only thing we have in regards to vehicles that can't be destroyed right now.
Yeah. As you head below, we'll come to that in a second. And Ned, is there anything you want to do while I'm kind of tracking this for the party?
I can help Kez and
Okay.
Eider.
Okay. Alright. So as Kez, Eider, and Ned head out of the ship to kind of get a little process line going, working on the metal and kind of tearing it out of the wall, seeing what they can do with it, and beginning to extract it, the three of you begin to kind of set your line up, getting a small fire going in the cave. A few dead branches and roots aren't too hard to find as you do a bit of searching, and digging a quick little pit to create a fire, some sort of fire pit, is pretty easy as you manage to start getting everything set up to basically have a small furnace set out outside while you begin processing and working on any of the metals that you can dig out. As you do that, we'll come back to you three in a moment. Dom, as you head down below towards the wagon itself, the wagon is kind of pushed off to the side. The three goslings' little nest now kind of set in the wagon on top, like into the bucket part, the actual wagon, I guess. Yeah. But as you look about, the thing still looks to be unshipped. The paint is still thick everywhere. It's bright blue and seems to sparkle. Even the indent where the tooth was left seems to have completely healed out.
Yeah. So Dom's again under the impression that this cart is basically impervious to all physical damage, or it takes a significant to damage it. So again, he's going to try to see if he could take some of the paint off, or if the ship, or not the ship, the cart, like if it's magically sealed to the cart, or if he can't peel the paint, he's going to assess like if the ship were to become unviable, is there like a window big enough that it could be broken to get the cart out, basically. He's just assessing like dimensions and logistics in regards to, because the cart's stuck, we can't take it up the stairs. I'm aware of that. So I'm just looking how realistic would it be if the ship like crashed and broke to get the cart out of the ship.
Yeah, as you look about, kind of looking at it, as you begin to start kind of working at peeling away with taking some daggers that are kind of found laying about, and start working away at the paint, the metal doesn't seem to chip at all as you try, no matter every angle, even trying to carve the wood itself, nothing seems to give way. The cart seems almost indestructible. As you look about as well down on the bottom floor, or the cargo bay, you don't see, there's no windows, there's no portholes. Even the few tears that were in the ship from previous battles have been, of course, fully repaired. The only thing that you'd be able to, if assuming you're going to go about by taking this thing out of the cargo bay, you'd have to create a hole in the bottom of the ship, basically, for it to be removed. There doesn't seem to be any like switch, no obvious like gates or bridges that open up. It's just a solid cargo bay.
Dom, I think, recalls hearing when Sen was with us in regards to this paint, which he had brushed off at first, and is now coming back to, that part of its abilities rely in the belief of the person. This is a wild shot, but can Dom attempt to like close his eyes, do a monk meditation if I have to put his belief or manifest and focus his energy on believing this lucky impenetrable cart can appear out of the cargo bay, like up on the deck, or like where it can be removed in excess. Can he just try to see if that would work? I believe it'll fail, but I think Dom's at the point where he will try all his options.
Yeah, give me a will save. Let's see what you can pull off.
Alright, I'm a monk. This should be decent. Oh, fuck, what dice am I gonna use? Please don't fail me. Actually, no, I want this one. Don't fail me. First roll of Dom of tonight, please. Not the first roll overall. That was almost a nat 20, but it's a dirty 20, which is still decent.
As you begin to kind of sit down, going into a deep meditation, focusing your mind as hard as you can, straining with all your might, trying to do anything to cause your will to be enforced on this wagon. A few minutes go by of doing this, and as you open your eyes, you hearing the slightest sound of something cracking. You open your eyes almost immediately with the expectation that the wagon would be out, and it is still sitting there, unmoved.
I don't understand troll magic. And I think Dom would just heave a sigh and kind of stand up, maybe like stretch out a bit after like being seated in whatever uncomfortable meditation position he takes, and will head off to the deck where I assume Eider and Kez and the others are.
Okay.
And we'll just go, so, good news. The cart seems impervious to all physical damage. Bad news, it can't be willed out of the cargo hold. If the ship is attacked midair and we go down, it would probably survive the crash. I'm not sure how much good it is to us in the ship, but it is a backup, I suppose. Ship also seems to be okay from what I can tell downstairs, but I'm not a master in regards to that.
I think Dom like realizes after a moment that he has to like actually like speak up, because I think between just the amount of industry and Eider refusing not to sing as loudly as he can while he mines.
Yeah, I was say, jumping over real quick, Dom, kind of jumping away from you for a second, as Kez and Ned and Eider have started, you guys have kind of climbed out, seeing Dom head down below deck at first, and heading down to what looked to be the cargo bay. As you three headed up, following after Eider and setting yourselves up in this little encampment. What I know, Eider's digging out ore out of the wall and kind of bringing it over to set it up for the processing. Kez, what are you planning to do as you watch as Eider kind of begins smelting and melting anything he pulls out?
I'll be pulverizing that shit.
Okay. Alright. And then, Ned, what are you planning to do out of curiosity?
I'm actually gonna go around picking up little pebbles off the ground.
Okay. Any particular rocks or just small rocks in general?
Small rocks about the size of a sling bullet.
Alright.
As if it were sling bullets, for example.
Yeah. As you go about, as you and Eider kind of start to slowly head a little deeper, by the time the two of you kind of get to what looks to be the edge of what looks to be the cave turning down, almost at a 45-degree angle, just dropping, you begin to notice that there seems to be a pile of little pebbles and rocks kind of accumulated at the lip. Ned, you find about 20 of them as you kind of pull them up. Most of them seem to be somewhat rounded, not perfectly so, but just enough that you think they'd make good sling ammunition. As you begin kind of looking around there, Eider, as you're working and kind of marking out where the ore veins are, kind of figuring out what the best and most efficient way will be to kind of process as much as you can, and kind of looking at this while you sing. You notice the lip over and the echo of your singing. At first, something kind of catches your attention as you hear it. It seems to almost come back as a chorus to you. But then you notice the chorus sounds different. It's in a deeper pitch and slightly less in tune.
Oh, it's like actually fucking trying to sing back.
As you kind of... Yeah, as you suddenly hear this, you hear as Dom comes up, kind of looking out at you a lot and mentioning this about the wagon from the distance. You're only about, at this point, 60 feet from where the ship's kind of settled in, and from about roughly 70-ish feet if you go based on land to where the nose of the main ship is. The main portion of the ship is.
Gotcha. Begin like kind of like hobbling back to the ship, a little uncertainly, to start trying to put my damn armor back on.
Mm-hmm. You come back, kind of jogging back with Ned right behind you. The two are kind of running over to grab your armor and starting to put it on. Kez is already kind of working at crushing up some of the ore, kind of getting it refined as best as he can down to smaller materials. Dom standing on the airship's deck looking down at you lot.
Sorry, hold that thought, Dom. I think something might be in the cave with us.
Can I do a spot or listen check upon hearing either like warn about that?
Yeah, I'll take either.
I think Dom's go-to would be it's pretty dark in the cave, yeah.
Yes. Other than the
I
minimal
don't
torchlight
recall-
that's being kind of produced basically from the fire.
Fire giants don't get dark vision, correct? As far as I'm aware.
Sounds right to me.
I would say I don't see it on my sheet anymore. I
Kez
don't
said-
see a spot.
Kez casted light though.
Kez did
Unless
cast.
that dissipated by now.
I mean, how long is light for? Remind me.
Let me check for you real quick.
I think it's
Let me
like
pull up
10 minutes per level, but I don't remember.
that. 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
For spellcasting level.
Assuming
We've
you're
been gone
keeping
by
it
now.
up. Assuming that Kez is keeping up the spell and not canceling the spell out, you still have a good, a decent gleam towards the end of the cave to be able to see where the lip is.
Oh, then I think Dom's first instinct would be to look for something, and then upon failing to see something, listen. But I think he would hear, I think something is in the cave with us, and immediately using his height advantage on the ship, look out into the back of the cave.
Sure, give me a spot check.
All right. 8. Because of my nat 1.
The shadows are dark. The light seems to be getting pulled the further it goes into the walls and causing an
Glasses.
almost unnatural dark sparkle to the that seems to kind of almost create these shadows that dance on the walls in a snake-like line. Nothing kind of catches your eye as you look on Dom.
I don't think Dom dismisses that there is something, but kind of, without speaking, gives Eider and the others a gesture like he doesn't, like shakes his head like he can't see anything.
And just kind of gives a nod. Mostly distracted because putting on full plate is a protracted process that is time consuming.
Well, I mean, you can have someone help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Actually, I do need someone to help me straight up, or I can't.
So the
Because
question.
because how long does it take
So
to put on
what? We
plate
gotta
armor by
get the
yourself?
giants have to get.
10 minutes is usually, I believe, the for plate.
And you cannot do it except for hastily if you don't have assistance.
Yep.
Mhm.
Giants gotta get down on their knees to help Eider, like reach down, be able to help Eider get dressed.
I mean, hey, I could listen.
like-
I'm like the only other person that wears plate. I could I could take a hot second of pulverizing metal to put some leather straps through some hoops.
I'm gonna say Dom's
Yep.
not gonna know what to do.
As you
with
kind of
what.
walk over and start helping Eider strap on the armor a little bit, kind of getting it a little bit cleaner, kind of adjusting the shoulders to sit a bit more correctly. As you it's not, Kaz, you feel like this is dressing the young Smiths in their first
reminds
days.
me of when I had to dress kids in the hospitals.
Yep.
Quiet you.
Tie your kid's shoes for school.
As you kind of work together, it takes a few moments, but as you all kind of gather now down, Dom, are you staying on top of the ship while the three
I
are down
think-
below?
While the party's like getting their armor on and clearly prepping for potential combat, despite the fact that Dom hasn't seen anything, is remaining like vigilant, scanning the area on the ship. Like he can't see jack shit right now, but he's actively like looking, listening, attempting to be like a sentry on duty right now, like a visual like
Okay.
I'm the surveillance. I'm the security system right now.
Okay. As you kind of watch, Kez and Eider putting on Eider's armor, Ned, are you just looking over towards the edge? What's the plan? The goose goslings are still in the ship, at least at this point.
Yeah, just watching over with the group.
Okay.
I'm not really going to help with the armor because I wouldn't know what I was doing.
Fair. As you kind of get close enough to the fire to give you a better line of sight, just to kind of close enough to Kez and Eider to be within about 15 feet in case of needing anything. The three of you kind of start to watch with Dom giving oversight above. A few moments go by, and as Eider puts on the last bit of straps of his armor, you hear the sounds of someone in giant going, "Excuse me! Is there a dwarvish singer here?"
I just like hesitantly call back. Yeah.
"I'm not going to kill you. If I come out, please do not shoot crossbow bolts or anything else at me."
We won't if you
Can
don't.
I?
Yes.
Can I?
Can I sense motive?
Yeah,
Can
go ahead.
Hey, DM. It's
Give me a
been a
sense
while.
motive.
To be fair, it's been a while.
Has it? Has it really?
Yeah, I don't think I sensed motive at all the last 2 sessions, actually. Haven't had a need to.
I don't think you did try and sense. No, you did try and sense motive the fucking dragon, the worm, the wyvern.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was more of just a last-ditch attempt before I thought I would die. This is more of like a legit... I think I'll get something out of that. That will be a 11.
11.
The dice really are not happy.
As you what are you trying to gather? If this person's just a threat?
The dude was like, "Hey, I come in peace. Don't attack me. I don't mean harm." And Dom's like, "Are you sure about that?"
A case is a suspicious place to say things like that.
As you hear it, the fact that this individual, if they are out and about like this, and that there is a cave that they where they obviously had the jump on you, the fact that they're announcing themselves really says a good amount. Especially if this was like the necromancers or something like that, you'd think they would just send undead to head to start just attacking you. Or block you from the other side. Doesn't seem to be an active threat as you, based on the individual. But as... Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Dom will remain on the ship, ready to, jump down if needed, but won't, make any, threatening gestures.
As you kind of watch and hear, saying this out loud as well, Eider, you hear as the sounds of someone kind of pulling on loose stone, the sounds of rocks clacking against stone, kind of falling below, as someone kind of seems to pull themselves over the ledge. Heavy, dark black cloak covering almost all their features. They seem to stand about 20-ish feet tall and seem to be broad in the shoulders. The little bits of skin that you can see seems to be slightly almost a very white blue. It's almost washed out as the individual seems to stop at the lip. Hands kind of slightly in the air, but you notice the sleeves of the cloak do not seem to drop as he raises his hands up. You hear the voice continue. "I am just here to talk with those who attacked the skeleton and the wyvern. Are you the ones who did that?"
Not quite. They attacked us, and we defended ourselves.
"So I will take that as a confirmation. I ask that you understand." As he kind of starts to take another step forward. "I am not going to cause any harm, but I will warn you, I am a spellcaster. Note that I have no staves or wands in my hands."
But it just kind of nods, looks him up and down.
He's not seemingly carrying any weapon.
I mean... Cool.
Just seeing...
Is it in your interest that they're dead or alive?
Neither. They're already undead.
Dom
okay.
resists an eye roll.
So, what brings you here, stranger?
He kind of stops and goes, "Why is your voice so grating? Are you a cleric?
Yeah.
Ah, by chance do you serve a god by the name of the Mother or Ella Ugbo?
Yeah.
I no longer wish to do business with you. Good luck," as he starts taking steps backwards.
Question: is this guy evil?
How far is your detect evil go?
60 feet, I think.
Technically, no. You do not get evil off of him.
Technically.
He is not evil aligned.
Hey, why does that matter?
Explain this technically.
I'm not answering those questions. You hear? I answered the question according to the spell. He is not evil aligned. As you
Is he an evil cleric? Does he worship an
That's
evil
what it
god?
is.
You see, there is no evil about him. If he had an evil domain, you would sense that.
He might be chaotic though, so who knows?
As he kind of like stands up, arms still raised, kind of stopping at lips, still facing towards you, and goes, your god doesn't particularly care for the use of the undead, and therefore we are not to be friends.
So you're part of the crew that's been brought those dragons back, and Wyvern?
And this is why we cannot be friends, because followers of Ella Ugbo jump to rationalizations to kill anybody who happens to know any sort of magic. Please
Hold on.
understand that I am a cleric of a good god, and that your own church is evil.
I was told that you were using good magic to bring it back, which, I mean, I was coming here to talk until I was attacked by said dragons and wyverns.
Assuming that I am part of this organization is a very far reach. Goes to show, again, how far Ella Ugbo followers seem to stretch the truth and their heresy.
Alright, the apologetics aren't really necessary. We just asked the question. Are you part of the group?
I would never be part of such an organization. They brought back creatures that were greedy and evil and had ambitions only to do things that were at justification of harming others. I stand by the belief in rights to giving those a last right before they die, so that they may say goodbye to their loved ones if need be, or see that treasure that they had given to those that needed it. That is all that I provide for my services.
Oh, so you're more in the spirit of ghosts.
Technically, all undead are souls that are having to be brought to a body. Regardless, I just provide make sure the vessels are promptly taken care of and kindly respected. Unlike those of the Elgobos following, you dirty heretic bastards who kill undead without any right or understanding.
I'm just looking so dumbfounded.
But we could agree, like, there are, like, very many undead that are, actually just straight up evil. Like, irredeemably.
The skeleton wyvern
here.
is evil, I can confirm. She is not happy, and she is trying to fight and bite and kill and use the undead to raise an army. That one is evil.
Right. It also seems enslaved by a... Also, what foul abomination of magic is it that allows an undead to continue to have its emotions, even if it's a lesser undead? Because that seems the most evil sort of thing I've ever seen.
Those of us who do not follow the true path have broken away to follow a foreign god and have gained his powers for it, and that's where this comes from. If you've fought the wyvern, then you know of the chain around its neck. It's what enslaves. If you think the skeleton wyvern is of lesser on death, allow me to correct your understanding. That creature is stronger and controlling. Kill it, and the others should fall just as quickly. The clerics who serve her are of no threat in that regard, and more slaves at this point to her than anything else.
Then what say we have a alliance between faiths?
I make no alliance with a heretic. You leave no right for any understanding of the undead. Your church believes in that all undead should be put to peace without understand. If your mother dies before she can wish and see you, do you not wish that she has that ability to pass on peacefully? But your church would say that that is heresy and would kill you and your mother and the one who cast it upon her. Imagine.
Yeah.
I would like
Ned,
to
bring up the
interrupt
gooselings.
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Ned.
Yep, exactly. I'm just gonna bring the gooselings.
As the gooselings come, Fluey, Shuey, and Julie, I believe it was, come, kind of jump, running up out of the ship and kind of jumping down, after Ned as he calls out to them. You see the necromancer stops and looks at it and goes, "So you have abandoned your church and your own oaths and your god. You're even less of someone who I'd want to associate with. Your
still
god
have the
deems
backing of
them
my
evil."
Okay. Can we all like calm down just for a moment?
Listen,
I
I'm
like-
being insulted left and right. I haven't even done anything wrong.
Heretic!
Work with me here. I understand. How about we have a meal together as strangers in the dark, and you can tell us more about this cult that is doing such evil.
That
I have
depends.
the perfect way to finish the meal, and I hold up a rolled up leaf.
You see him kind of look at it and can look at the rest of the party. As the individual finally seems to look up towards the top of the ship. You see a slight change and almost recognition as the hood gets pulled back. A patchy beard with most of the hair missing, and a very old-looking frost giant face that kind of appears out of it. More scars and wrinkles than there is actual tissue. One of his eyes looking to be slightly almost lazy, going off to the side as it's colored over completely. The other eye seems to be sharp and locked up on towards Dom. And you hear the individual go, "Is that Regan Utham's son?"
I think Dom, having been just listening and watching to this and seeing this conversation kind of going in circles, upon being called out, will like climb down the rope to join the party on the ground, very clearly like unarmed, not being threatening. It is indeed. Tell me, your face is familiar, but I do not have a name put to it. You recognize me. Clearly we've crossed paths before. Who is it we speak to?
He looks over towards Ned again, putting his hands down now, and goes, "You light that leaf real quick, and we'll sit down and have a chat. The fact that you're traveling with the Regan's son tells me more than I needed to know. Although, the fact that the Regan accepts heretics, especially bad ones at that, is kind of a wonder about what the policy of the state is doing." As he kind of start walking forward, now what looks to be almost a bit more relaxed. The individual kind of watching Kez, mostly staring, and now locking eyes and staring at him the entire time. Kez, you can't help but notice he keeps looking towards your hands every time your hand kind of brushes near your sides, where your weapon is. After a few moments, though, as he gets close, finally comes up right up towards the fire. He finally kind of sits down, or immediately sits down on the ground, and looks at Ned, kind of waitingly for the joint, and kind of seems to kind of pull out of a small little bag of holding what looks to be some skewered chunks of meat that he kind of sets in the ground next to the fire. As he looks at the rest of you and goes, "Well, my name doesn't really matter anymore, given I've been exiled by Regan Utham himself. I'm one of the guards that got blamed for that Jakik situation. Taught my son how to use a pitchfork with magic. Suddenly you get in trouble for it, and because he's been booping around, Regan Utham exiled us, along with the rest of the family. My youngest is the one who you're dealing with, if I had to guess, as he kind of takes the little joint from Ned and immediately sucks half of the thing down almost in a single pull and hands it back as he seems to hold it in for a second. And breathes out across the fire turning almost a bluish color as he does so.
Ned looks very impressed.
Yeah, continues as he takes a quick sip from a little, what looks to be a little water canteen, or, water skin from his side, as he looks back at you and goes, Regan didn't appreciate our mentality on magics and our clerical practices. My son chose to take up labor and interest with a foreign god after his mother didn't make the journey. Unfortunately, his mother wasn't a kind sort. She had a different mentality on gods. Are you familiar, as he looks over to Keznok and goes, with the one known as Oat?
I've heard of that.
Demigod is, unfortunately popular amongst those who don't care for the Regan, especially those of a clerical mindset. He offers power, though it may be waning, and the control against of the undead has kind of lackened since his leaving.
Your son follows Oat. And you see Dom's eyes are like narrowed and he's kind of staring at the guard, ex-guard.
He just nods and goes, yes. The wyvern, that is probably what you came here. It sounds like you were here to slay. The skeleton wyvern is their mother. Her soul is trapped in the body of a wyvern and basically been given life. The problem is an item that they were given by a strange merchant individual. A red suit, fancy red locks, very sharp teeth, very angry individual it seemed. He always wore a strange smile about him. Sold this chain with this lantern, but they said that if the kids put it around the wyvern's neck, it would revive their mother and give her every ambition and goal as if she was alive again. And that it did, but of course it gave her a nastier ability and opinion. She ate and devoured our second-born, and his magic seems to have been gained by her, and now she's running amok with the other two, basically feeding her. She controls the rest of the undead from my understanding, and since the situation I've been hiding in this cave, as my magic seems to be as effective as you'd expect, and hitting the bones of the undead that she seems to have under her following seems to be almost pointless. They seem immune to any sort of damage I can put to them.
Have you tried to bless water?
I'm a cleric of a god who serves and respects undeath. My blessings mean nothing to an undead.
Like, think about that for a moment. Like, wait a minute. But holy water is just holy water.
He kind of smiles at that and goes, many of you may believe that, but if you actually know, once you study the gods and learn of them truthfully, you'll understand what the power behind the domains and the magics our gods give us.
Yeah, I gotta agree with the guy here. That's a good point.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Kaz, you have no fucking rights to knowledge religion. Don't you bullshit me.
Hey, man.
Doesn't need to roll for this. He just knows.
I don't need to roll for that.
It was
I
part of
just
his
know.
training.
Alright. So, like, out of game, that sounds like total fucking bullshit.
Do you want to roll a sense motive, Eider?
Well, I'd like to, like, confirm with my own knowledge if, like, possible. It's like, is this actual just total fucking, like, is this guy just insane? Or for my own knowledge of religion, like, is, like, there some credence to what he's saying?
Roll knowledge religion, see if you can figure it out.
Dope, I would love to.
Ooh, excuse me.
So if I'm getting this correctly, Rice, this guy, whatever he believes in, he does believe that there is not exactly different, but similar. Like a sanctity of life, but he believes that there is a possibility of undeath as a next form of life. Is that what I'm getting?
No, it's he respects undeath, allowing those who have ambitions and goals to fulfill them if they're within the means of undeath. So it means that if you die, that he's before your time, he's giving. He believes in giving those who had didn't have a chance to try and fulfill their goals.
Oh, so essentially, kind of what I just did with the Goslings.
In a sense, yeah, that would be the general gist of it, yeah. Which would go very far, or could go very far against the more hardcore, more focused believers of your church. Nat 20 for a total of 33. So when you back home, there weren't many churches, to your reference either. There was only really one that seemed to be mostly followed, which was those who followed Sarazeki. And it was noted that those blessed by holy water of the clerics who served him typically were known to grow strange tentacles or have weird mutations about them. Though the effects seem to have a universal and similar effect as you've seen in your minor travelings before joining up with this group. Each god does seem to, depending on the power and the ability of the god individually, have some sort of varying effect on their holy water, which in that sense, the concept of a limitation of a god of undeath being unable to affect undead creatures is fully within the range of possibility.
Okay. That makes sense. Just like kind of like nod, thanks for a moment. It's like, and then like I think like out of like just pure academic curiosity and anything, like I just like voices up. So like, so what is the blessing? Or what does holy water do for your god? Does it just bolts through the undead? Now you've got me curious.
My experience and my travels, I found that it brings those back that were still wanting. If you did not have a want, your body would crumble instantly. It's a good way of showing us if the individual was worth bringing back. A kindness, in a sense, to not bring back those who did not wish to be. The only blessing our God could give us. Though they didn't truly rise, we were able to see, in a sense, a spirit that still lingered. Or at least that's what the church names it. I think of it, it looks to me as no more than an invisible servant or something of the sort. It seems we all have an essence of magic at the center of us that is, one way or another, a core, if you will, that seems to be at the forefront of our magic and our god.
I see. That being the case, would you be opposed to, for this one instance where our interests, I think, align, help us process more silver so that we might utilize holy water to prevent the travesty that's happening outside?
You wish for me to help you kill my own son and kin.
You've said it yourself. He's lost his way in a horrible fashion.
I think Dom leans forward, and with this in the firelight, these intense gold red eyes, and you would notice as he's staring down, his pupils look slitted and narrow, and he goes, "If your son has taken to choosing to serve Oat and is helping what they're doing, he is worthy of worse than death. I do not mean any ill will towards you, but anyone who would turn themselves over to that monstrosity, I wish nothing but the worst." And kind of leans back with his arms crossed, kind of glowering.
Yeah. As you say this, you see a strange look as as he almost seems to sigh and look into the fire for a moment, and then looks back up at each of you, kind of pausing finally onto Ned and looking at the goslings as he seems to run his hand over one of the goslings very gently as he pets the top of its head and looks back at Dom and goes, "You've never been put into a corner. You're too young. Ask the Regan what it was like on his adventures. Ask him about those tales that glorify his beholder killings. Ask him about the times that we stood on the front lines and almost died, where he almost lost his entire arm. As a beholder chomped through it, I had to tear the thing off of him. I've seen death. I've spat in death's face, youngling. You don't understand what it's like to protect your kin,
I
and you never will.
was born in death, and I was with the Utham through some of his beholder travels. I put myself into the wilderness to starve and to die so I could understand at a young age what it is to be put to the edge, and I can assure you, offered no other options, I would sooner take my life than give myself over to Oat.
You see him kind of laugh almost immediately at that, as he kind of gets almost a full belly laugh as he leans back. He kind of stops catching his breath after a few moments, and then looks at you and goes, "You know, young Dom, you want to know who you remind this old caster about?" As he kind of rubs his hands over the fire, kind of trying to warm them up.
Who?
There was a young man in my youth named O'Garen. Bloodied storm, last storm, breaker of storms, you name it. Thought just like you. Where is he now? Down below. 6 feet. Well, he looks at himself and then it goes, probably more like 20, but common Goliath phrase. He smiles and goes, "Kill my kin if you wish," as he stands up, leaving the skewered meat in the ground. He looks over at Kez and then back to, and then finally over to Eider and goes, "Alec, you'll get no aid from me. I won't help you with your silver. All I ask is that if you're going to do this, don't tell me about it. And that you do something for yourself. Crack those chains before she ends up flying away."
Truth to tell, we're not here
would
to
not
actually
help?
just kill him.
No?
Even if I said I could speak to the Reagan and see about getting you back and
The Reagan's a
having you
fool.
help us with this.
Your Reagan, Utham, has about as much intelligence as his brother Faltharn, and is going to end up dead soon because he won't act. He's no Regan of mine, and I won't follow him. Let me make
May I
that
talk?
clear. He looks over at Kez at that and kind of stops for a moment with his one good eye looking over at you.
About a
That was
century
sick.
ago, my father and I were traveling through the Fire Giant lands. We were simple jewelers then, until a lich attacked us. My father was gravely wounded, and I near the same. And upon then I was cursed with this visage. I brought my father back to the closest town, beaten and battered. The death he suffered was tremendous. Nothing that I hope to see ever again, nor do I wish that fate on anyone else. I chose to follow Ella Ugbo to alleviate the suffering and to take down the undead who cause undue harm to good, innocent people. Now, I understand you have attachment. I wouldn't want. If my father, for example, were to be brought back in such an unsightly manner, I wouldn't want to deal with it either. But we have a duty. You to make sure the name of undead aren't unsullied, and my duty is to make sure good souls are put to rest. I'll walk up and I'll put my hand out to him.
Give me a diplomacy roll. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're not here to
Believe in you.
specifically kill him. We are specifically
Dom
trying
kind
to
of
capture him.
side-eyes you.
What? The goal was to capture him, it wasn't to kill him.
That is a 31.
31.
Oh.
He
Let's
kinda-
put them to rest together.
He looks at you, looks at your hand. You just see almost the tiredness in his eyes, and as his shoulder slumps, and he looks at you, shakes his head no, and goes, "My God abandoned me when I cursed them. I've only got days, maybe moments left. You're on your own. And you see turns and starts walking into the shadow, heading
You will
down
always
below.
have a part. You always have a place amongst those of Ella Ugbo's. If you ever choose to come with. A mother's love encompasses all.
As you say that, you watch as the individual kind of slowly steps over the lip and seems to start sliding down the rock face, disappearing into the darkness and out of your sight.
Gentlemen, let's do what we can to prepare. And let's go put some good souls to rest.
Question out of character.
Mhm.
Does the quest specifically say that the cultists need to be brought back alive to gain the reward?
At least
Dead or
one.
alive, but it's like they want us to capture them, preferably. The reward is mostly for them being alive. That's why we got all like the capture stuff.
I need to know. Just need to know. Just
And I mean, yeah.
Just need to know.
I mean, all
I will
those
That's what I was
say-
trying to tell them. It's like, we don't necessarily just want to kill your son. We want to kill the dragons that are undead and fucking shit up, but...
I mean, if they're
And,
all undead, that's gonna be an issue.
To clarify,
Okay, if we're all
Dude
undead, then he's a
Minor-
lich and we die.
to to clarify due to minor internet fuckery, the man did tell us ominously before he departed to break the chain, correct? Like he said
Mhm.
fully
Yeah.
Yep.
break the okay, cool. Wanted to double check on that.
Mhm.
I'd say as the party's getting up and getting ready to do whatever, Dominander's just going to be sat kind of glaring into the fire with those slitted eyes and seems to be deep in thought.
Question. How much silver did we end up collecting?
At this point, it's only been a few moments. Roughly from
Okay.
what Eider's been able to gather and figure out, he's gotten about a bar's worth, so about a pound.
Shit.
It's gonna it's only been a few minutes that you've been in here working, so.
Yeah.
All right.
And
let's-
just to clarify, we're like just trying to like gather the material components for blessed water. So we're not like trying to like smelt it down. We just need to grind it up, really.
Yeah, that's why he's crushing it up and everything. Yep. No, I figured.
Also, there you guys go. Another Kezanok lore drop. Hope you enjoyed.
Yes, yes. I it is in my notes.
The good notes. All right, let's get cracking silver.
All right.
All right, I resume my songing.
So how long or how much are you trying to get exactly? So I can get a clarification here.
Guess how many first level spell slots you got?
Let me double check.
'Cause that's the answer.
I have 4 first level spots, so we need 20 pounds.
Okay. About an hour's worth of work will get you roughly there between the four of you working together. With Ned and Dom, with Dom and Eider working about getting the metal out of the wall and the ore Eider and Dom rather, and Ned grabbing hold of the peat chunks and kind of bringing it back for Kez to begin kind of grinding down. The Goslings seemingly helping and grabbing a hold and of some of the smaller chunks that fall to the ground. The group, you managed to, after about an hour's worth of work, to get about 20 pounds worth kind of refined, broken up, as the ore seems to be pretty heavily exposed and easily able to be broken away from its excess material. Yeah. Now, are you mixing with any of the darkened material, or is it just the pure silver you're trying to go for reference?
I definitely want to go for the pure silver material because the
We
darkened
can
material
experiment
seems
at a later point.
the darkened material seems like it would not react well, given that it eats light
No, that's fair.
and heat.
So,
What do you mean? That's totally not spooky.
and just as a clarification, the necromancers, or at least the people that we're going to try to find afterwards, are on this mountain, right?
No, not on this one. They're on the one to the west of you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we just set
But
How
down
far
on
away is that
ridge.
one?
4 days by airship.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So extrapolating it out, if we spent like another couple hours, could we get say 40 more pounds since we'll have like the 2 days travel
It's
time?
I'd say with the earlier roll, yeah, roughly another hour would take you to get another 20 pounds onto it. So it'd be about another 2 hours in total if you're going for a total, or if you're going for 60 in total. If it's only 40, it'd be 2.
And I have a question for clerics. It's after you rest for an hour, we get our spell slots back. Is that how it works?
8 hours.
Yeah, you need the full 8 hours of rest to do it.
You just get your new
okay.
spells in that hour, is basically, or in
Okay,
that time is
cool.
the usual idea. So technically, you only have to sleep 7 hours, and then you have an hour of prayers. How it's typically, or how it's supposed to be, I think.
Gotcha. So then, while after I cast, actually, do we have containers to put holy water in?
Worst case scenario, yes, because I think our ship is a magical ship of just tomfuckery that gives us what we need, considering it just spawns an entire new ship and materials as necessary.
You didn't see a button to spawn vials, though. I will tell you
Well,
that.
like in the rooms, like items would be
Yeah.
created based
Ah.
on what we needed, right?
Yeah, it creates
Um,
items in the rooms.
In a
Like,
sense,
like
it
mundane.
is very limited to your individual, like the individual craft and necessity of the person. So do kind of keep that in mind. A smithy is an easy, like having an anvil, a furnace, and like areas to put coal and stuff are very easy to materialize. But that doesn't just automatically get restocked. There is a limited or finite amount of materials that can be that are usually going to spawn, like show up in the room.
Mm.
keeping that in mind, I do have all of those fucking glass gemstones.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could use my jeweler's work to carve out cavities in them.
Well, no. So my idea was like, if we just like put it in one of the rooms, like our need is that we need to store water in these vials. Close the door, open the door.
I will tell you, it will not work like that.
I don't think it's like a fabricator in which it takes materials and turns it into something else.
I was just saying if we could like lessen the load in terms of like what it could, needed to spit out.
Because I mean, theoretically, in my room, I am a cleric. Blessing water is kind of a thing we do. There might be vials in there or flasks of some sort.
Well, you guys haven't
Maybe.
really gone and bought any barrels of water or anything like that, or
Well, I
really
can
any
create
travel
water.
supplies. You guys don't really have anything outright unless you have it on your person. The ship was not like set up with necessity materials. The kitchen was pretty much bare bones for it, besides the like knives and few things that needs to be ran, and the rest of the ship is pretty simple. So, yeah.
We from Utham, we got was it Utham? Because don't we have the food box or not yet?
We didn't buy a food box. That being said, we can just like go get like clay.
Monday got a food box.
Gotcha. Because I couldn't remember if Sunday got one yet either.
No,
like, just
it was
purchasing
Monday
it.
because you traded me fucking what's his face minion.
I knew Monday got one. I was wondering since we were
Sunday
in town
did
if
not.
we ever picked up another one yet. All right,
Nope.
cool. Gotcha. Because I was be like, oh well, if we pulled the water out of there, would it come out in a bottle?
I will say, does either not have a glass blowing kit?
No, because glass blowing is monstrously difficult and requires insane temperatures.
It does. That's why I was curious though. If you had, but if you have like the proficiency and the kit with it, it's a lot easier to get the rolls. But if you do not, then never mind.
I don't, because like the problem with the glass blower's kit isn't the kit; it's the furnace.
Yeah, that's true.
like cool, I've got glass blowing tools. That means fuck all. I don't have the thing that can emit 3,000 degrees of heat.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right.
So instead of glass, though, we can just make like little clay pots
Mm-hmm.
and just seal them up and then heat them like that. Like
That's
we don't have to
true.
go like crazy fancy with it. I know like the standard is like, oh yeah, we'll just use glass because like we're modern and glass is ubiquitous.
Mm-hmm.
But we 100%, it does not in
Well,
any
I
way
need
need
containers.
glass. Yeah, we just need a container.
Like I'm not gonna empty out my 3 potions of healing, moderate healing, just to get containers.
So yeah, as I mean, clay is like a really inexpensive material. Like,
You are in a mountain though, so you are surrounded by hard rock.
I just meant from like in terms of like opening up like one of the rooms like with the smithy shop. Could it like stock?
I mean, to be honest,
no.
Insignificant amount of clay.
It's gonna take
No.
4 days to get there. There's probably some kind of water, like whether it's ponds, lakes, rivers, that's gonna be around when we get
There's-
to.
There's a lake north of you, but about a day's worth journey that you were at earlier, where you fought a skeleton dragon.
Mm-hmm. So, well, you said that's also where it was roosting, right?
Where it was laying, I did not use the word roosting. That was where you saw it on a center island in the middle of the lake. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not out. It's not out of the way, and we can already do it. We can.
We can
We
get all the
already
materials
have-
we need here, and then go over there,
Yeah.
get stuff made. And
It's
then
already been
I'll
stated
have a
explicitly
day
we
or
have a
two
Mhm.
to create a bunch of holy water.
Yeah. Well, it's already been explicitly stated. We had a barrel because that's what bargers stowed away in.
Mm-hmm. You do have a barrel down the bottom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can create like the amount of water that we need and bless it, so we're not like losing time/spell slots, and then actually like allocate it into containers to be throwable. Or we could just ask Dom to try and throw the whole fucking barrel, but I think ideally we want to break it up more if we can.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I don't know about this all or nothing thing.
Eat an entire barrel.
Yeah, I think a bear, like, it's easy to like classify a small like container as a touch attack. I don't know if you can classify a barrel as a touch attack. That seems like a stretch.
I know.
Whole
Like,
body attack.
It's a pint. The blessed water spell, like
Mhm.
one can turn a pint of water into holy water.
Basically, one vial or flask of holy water.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a vial. A vial is a little small for a pint.
I will say, when I use the word barrel, just for your own notion, that it is the size of a cask, is I believe technically the. Alright, here, let me see if I can find. No, sorry, it'd be a port pipe. That's the exact size. Didn't know they actually had wording. I had to look that up.
Oh yeah, there's a. Oh yeah.
Because apparently, well, a human can fit in a barrel, but they're not very easy. So
that's
yeah,
tight.
technically it would be a port pipe. So because it was wide enough to fit the kind of the thicker dwarf. Port pipe, for reference, is 172 gallons, or up
Yeah.
to 650 liters.
we just need something to fit a half gallon at the moment.
Mhm.
It's like it's permanent once it's made, so I just like need a way for it to like safe, like quote unquote safely store insofar as it just doesn't spill out. But other than that, it's not like that big of a deal where it gets put.
Let me see how big this is. Make sure I'm right on this. I want to see something. I'm a visual learner. Give me a minute.
To be honest, like a small wooden bowl could be enough to fit a pint.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Perfect.
A quarter cask.
So, all right. What's the plan? So you're doing 80 pounds for the 4 days. So yeah, you can take the full time to get the 80 pounds of silver. With the crate water, you can just go down below and start pumping it into that bucket or into the barrel basically, and begin working at it. If that's the general plan.
Yeah. I think we only want to do it like a little bit at a time because I have no
yeah.
idea what happens if you dilute holy water. I imagine nothing great.
Yeah, I would say if anything, we have a barrel of water to use.
Okay.
But I'll take a pint out at a time to cast said spell.
I mean, I'll also throw out there. Dom has a personal water skin. It wouldn't like break upon impact, but I could eat it with maybe enough force.
Well, I mean, that's why we're all going out of the lake.
Enough
so we
force
can
to
get
pop
clay.
the lid off. If I loosen it and eat it,
Let's just go make some clay fucking things.
Yeah, I'd say.
I might have
Because, I
to
mean,
throw empty glass bottles or something.
Well, while a bunch of us go gather clay and mold it, Eider can probably build a kiln because it's not that hard to make a kiln.
No. Eider can just use his dragon breath and superheat
I was
it.
actually gonna say that because like earthenware doesn't have to get that hot for it, and honestly, we don't want it to be necessarily that hard. We just need it watertight. So we had a little pint sized sphere pour the water in,
Yeah.
seal it up, and then
All right.
cook it.
Okay.
So what? We're gonna spend 1 day here to get the
It's only
materials.
4 hours.
Okay, 4 hours to get the material, all of the iron. Well, sorry, the silver we want, and then we're gonna fly over a day to get to the lake, do everything we need there, and then it's gonna take what?
About three
Is
and
it
a half
still-
days to get from the lake
Yeah.
to the mountain.
And in that time, while we're all traveling, I can make. If it's 3, I could take 2 of those travel days to do 2 batches of. Well, if it's no, if I don't sleep, which I'm going to, I could do 2 sets of holy water creation.
You can only prepare your spells once per day.
Yeah, but if I could still keep so if it's from the lake, it's a 3 to 3.5 days. So from the
But on the
lake,
4th day, we'll be fighting.
that's
so,
why
like-
I said on the first 2 days of travel,
Oh, gotcha.
I would use both those days to make holy water, and on the 3rd day, switch over to switch over that one bless water spell to a different spell, and have all my spell slots back.
Okay.
All right.
That would leave us with 8 things of holy water.
Okay. As you lot begin to kind of finish up gathering the silver materials, kind of grinding it up as Kez does at the same time, finish 4 hours later, kind of finishing up and getting everything together, snuffing out the fire and grabbing the meat skewers that were just kind of left there by the individual. You lot kind of start to gather up your stuff, getting aboard the ship, and start to pull back, heading towards the lake. Give me a search check, either, as well as, we'll call it a hide check, because I assume you're not going to be trying to be very cautious in your flying, since you're heading back to the place where this creature just fucking shot at you, basically, from a cannon, and attacked. So...
Okay.
shot
Search
out
check.
of a cannon. Yeah.
Search check with like stone cutting because I'm looking for clay, or
No, I'm
looking
talking
for-
about as you're flying the ship to the lake.
Oh, just to, like
Yeah.
avoid stuff. Okay,
The wyvern that came flying like a shot out of a cannon, yeah.
gotcha. And then for the hide check, I don't know how on earth I would, because I don't imagine like our armor check or anything applies.
Nope, it's just gonna be just a
Just
D20.
a D20?
I guess. Yep.
Would you take like my piloting roll?
You know what? Sure, I'll take a bonus for it. You can use your piloting roll to include it. Why not?
Well, shit, I got a nat 20 on the fucking search roll, so.
That's
Yeah.
helpful. Okay.
And then a nat 20 on the What the fuck?
Uh,
Oh my god, don't
good.
waste them before the fight, dude.
now it's too late. Yeah, as you kind of keeping your eyes on the sky and taking the ship down low, keeping it close to the ground, and just watching every moment, looking towards the mountain. You see for a moment the 3 flying creatures around the mountain, kind of flapping. Even from this distance, they are easy to spot due to their size, but they don't seem to at all even notice or start heading toward in the direction. As the creatures kind of stick around and disappearing behind the mountain. As you finally manage to make it after a full day of slow and low travel, you finally come to the edge of the lake without any young dragon or skeleton dragon, thankfully there. Though the imprint on the center island of where the creature was resting still clearly visible. You guys come to a landing about 20 feet from the edge of the lake itself.
Yeah. Dumb question, but like casting around, because I remember like I cut off like one of its claws.
Mm-hmm.
Can we like go and inspect that?
Yeah, didn't like the zombie wyvern's leg
Like
get
an
cut off?
entire leg.
Yep,
Yeah,
a
we cut off
leg.
one of the leg and one of like the main claws for the skeleton dragon.
Yep, as the three of you kind of sing this, kind of look at Ned, and as Ned kind of goes down, starts grabbing up clay, having recognized the understanding, starts like pulling it up with his hands. He looks back, seeing you walk away for a moment, just kind of seems to smile as you 3 kind of go walking off while he watches the ship with the goslings. As you walk about 50 or so feet from the ship, you see the remains of the leg kind of slightly sticking out of a thick snow embankment that's slowly been piling on it since you left it there, as well as what looks to be just the tip of the bone of the skeleton's claw sticking out of another pretty large embankment of snow that's kind of built up around it.
Well, I want to check those out real fast. It won't hopefully take too much of time.
By all
I'll start
means, go ahead. I'll start getting clay.
All right.
I'll just start waddling over to the.
Okay.
I'll go with Eider to help inspect.
All right. As Kez and Ned kind of start digging up clay and getting like slabs of it set off to the side to start shaping, Eider and Dom, you start heading over. As you see the heavy snow embankments and start digging them out, which are you going for first, the bone claw or the leg of the wyvern, of the zombie wyvern?
I thought the bone claw we took because we got one off of the cart.
You didn't
that was
take
like
it
on the ship.
No, this
Or
is
is that a different
this is
one?
the dragon's bone. The one you found on the airship that was piercing through was the wyvern's tooth.
Yeah. Much
Okay.
smaller.
Oh, wyvern's tooth, not
Yeah.
claw. Okay.
Yeah, it was a tooth
cool.
because it was biting the back of the ship and like chomping down on it.
I think, given what we were told, Dom would immediately go to investigate the wyvern's leg.
Okay.
I'd be going towards the claw
First.
because I really want to know what the fuck was going on with that.
Yeah. As the
'cause-
two
I know enough about undead. That should not have been that resistant.
As the two of you begin kind of digging and like pulling it out, it doesn't take you very long to pull enough of the snow out of the way. It's fresh snow, so it's just cold and wet as it pulls apart. Managing to dig both out in a few minutes. Not fully for the leg, but the claw seems to be almost pretty easy to pull the snow aside from. Dom, as you manage to get the like top of the leg somewhat undug and cleared out. Looking at the two of you can see clearly inside, almost immediately, a light green glow inside both the claw and inside the bones of the wyvern a leg, where it seems to have been like almost cracked off from the amount an immense heat that seems to have almost melted the joint.
Dom's not really good at magic, but can I attempt some kind of like arcana roll to figure out if I can like recognize if this is like just necromantic magic or if this is some other
Yeah, give me a knowledge arcana.
effect? Okay. I'm not gonna be good at this, but I can still roll.
You never know.
You never know. I mean, I do have proficiency. I just don't have many points in it, or many ranks in it. 3. I'm rolling really bad today, guys.
Necromancy's not
No,
your
there's no
thing,
fucking thing.
Dom. Not enough for you to recognize, and these wyverns are... I mean, it's a zombie wyvern. The smell of the burning flesh is not pleasant, even with the snow having cleaned it up. This is still rotting flesh. The stench is heavy, as it just seems to kind of cause too much of a distraction as you kind of keep plugging your nose, trying to get closer to it. The smell and taste in the air is just too much as you find yourself keep backing off. You're unsure. This could be normal for necromancy. It could be not. I mean, it's about as necromantic as Kez is from your perspective.
Does another follow-up question? If my roll's too low for this, that's fine. But this might be a different roll. Does this magic seem similar to magic Dom would have encountered in his past?
With that roll,
In regards to the oath stuff.
it's about as general as magic could be. You're unsure.
Okay.
Eider, as you dig up the bone or the claw, seeing that the claw itself has this thick green metal at the top of it that seems to almost fill out inside of it, kind of filling the claw itself from the to not be as hollow. As you kind of tap against it, you can hear solid metal ringing inside.
Gotcha. Do you need me to identify the metal, or considering I may or may not be wearing it?
You are wearing. It's pretty easy to tell. You're wearing almost the exact same material that's inside the bones of this creature.
You just hear like Eider let out like a strangled cry.
As you look inside, I will say, do give me an appraise with your stone cutting bonus to tell how pure the metal is and like if there's anything strange mixed into it.
Gotcha. That is a 17 total.
17. Something that does catch your eye, while this seems to be adamantine, it's definitely been processed with lyrium, as you see specks of a little bit of blue, and there seems to be some sort of like almost flow lines in the pieces of adamantine you can somewhat see through, that seems thinner and less processed. As you kind of look around the top of the where the claw got chopped off, there seems to be a shiny enough section that's been almost polished, that you can seeing little rivulets going through, as if something was flowing like almost like blood of sorts, through the adamantine.
Huh.
You said it was blue?
Yeah, it's lyrium.
Okay. I'm just making sure for my notes. It's lucky.
No, thankfully it's not that. I guess given my like recent knowledge of artifice, does it seem to like resemble like an attempt to like recreate life, not just through the magics of necromancy, but like actual like blood?
Give me a heal check.
Would you take a different knowledge?
Do you have a knowledge healer, knowledge medicine?
I have all knowledges.
I'll take a knowledge medicine if you got
I
it.
feel like
23.
I think my knowledge medicine's decent. Oh shit.
23. It's from what Kez has talked about and the few times that you've kind of listened in to him going on about like his time at the clinic, when he was when you guys were, or when the party was in Purser's last hold. It seems to match up similar to something that you remember Kez talking about, something about changing the blood out with like leeches, and putting fresh blood into it. There are like these weird little like ropes inside the body that supposedly hold this material, and that's what keeps people alive. It was mostly gibberish to you, and you didn't really care. But as you kind of start to think about it, it's kind of matching similar to what what it sounded like Kez describing.
Just thinking back on it, it didn't seem like it was like any sort of ordinarily like resistant to magic.
It did not. It just took hits left and right.
I guess we didn't actually cast a spell on it, except for the holy fire, which isn't technically something it would resist. Huh. That could be concerning. Yeah, like start like trying to drag this thing back to the ship.
It is about 500-ish pounds. So keep this in mind. This claw is about 4 feet tall.
I can drag it. I think double check the fucking carry weight. And because I'm a dwarf, I can sprint while dragging it.
He's gonna plow the dirt with the claws. He drags it along behind him, splitting it like an oxen pulling a plow. You watch.
I'm just watching.
Yeah, Dom, you see as Eider seems to kind of like jump up onto the claw, pulling it down, so it's like fully onto, like flipped towards the ground on its side, and starts to drag it alongside with him, tearing up the ground just light enough on the surface as it flips itself over, kind of bending, just enough to cause the surface dirt to split, as it kind of gets dragged along by Eider. Oh, damn. All right. As Eider starts kind of like jogging over with it towards Kez and Ned. As you run over it, Dom, are you leaving the lake there? Are you gonna and following after Eider, or are you gonna do something?
How heavy is the leg?
As you look at the leg, you'd guess, kind of like lifting it up with one hand, roughly, you'd guess somewhere probably around like 2,000-ish pounds. You are dealing with a lot more bones in this situation, so this is because it's a whole leg. Like it was cut off at the hip joint, so you've got like the biggest bone in the little body there.
Kind of like with disgust, like one hand covering his. Well, no, he's got his gas mask. Oh, I think he puts his gas mask on to block out the smell, goes to heft the leg, determines it's completely not worth it, and out of the corner of his eye just stops and watch watches Eider like eagerly, like a little gremlin, dragging this giant claw through the snow, and is like, okay, whatever he's doing is clearly more important, and will just remove his mask and I don't think he feels the need to help because Eider
just
clearly
follow
has
after.
this. I think he just follows him,
Yeah.
to see what's going on, because Eider looks too excited.
As Kez and Ned kind of finish up getting about this point each about 6 bowls kind of shaped out to hold about 8 ounces of liquid. They're not perfect, and most of Ned's have little feathers sticking out of them, but they do seem to be shaped and ready to go into a kiln and kind of set off to the side. As you two kind of turn and see Eider coming running up between the ship's 2 little side buoys it has that kind of help it would normally help it float on the water. And then, of course, the main ship, as he's coming up between the 2 and running towards you a lot.
The dragons have adamantine!
What?
What?
Dragons have adamantine!
Why are you shouting?
Eider comes running up
We're
and
all
stops
the
in front of the two of you, Dom right behind.
Yeah, Eider's just like bouncing with energy.
Uh-huh. Little claw digging into the dirt as you guys can see the slight glow or the slight pinch of green hue color inside the claw as Eider kind of is dragging it over. It seems to be clearly something like metal-ish inside of it, though as you get a quick look of it, it looks to be the same color as what Eider's wearing for armor.
Oh. Well, how much of it is adamantine?
No idea yet. I like pause the thing for a moment, like look down at my gloves, look at the thing, think again for a second. So because this came from an undead creature, could I just start like stripping the fucking bone off of the insides of it with the undead disruption thing I've got going on with my arms?
You could try.
Okay, I give it a shot.
Give me a strength check.
Well,
Well, no, I mean like I'm trying like destroy like because it like destroys undead like material. Like
No, I
I mean,
know.
just like literally like erasing the thing.
No, I'm familiar. Yeah, give me a strength check. You'll understand.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Okay. As you kind of look excitingly at the rest of the group, and after saying that you don't know yet, kind of grabbing a hold of the bone with 2 hands, you watch as the magic begins to envelop across the bone. It begins to crack, splintering the bits and pieces as they start to turn to ash, molting away. The adamantine begins to almost get heavier as the bones pull away. You feel it almost increase to double the weight of just your carrying capacity as it suddenly slams into your chest. Though you manage to recover pretty quickly, pushing it back up. It looks to be thick and heavy.
A lot more than I thought.
Something that gets heavier as you take more things away. How peculiar.
Yep, I'm gonna stop doing that now.
As you look at where the bone's now been torn out, Kez, the perfect clear sign of what looked to be veins almost carved inside the metal. As the sides where the bone were, the metal is perfectly smooth and almost see-through. As you can kind of see in there, there's like little rivulets where veins normally would be on a creature of this size, you'd guessed.
Veins in the bone?
Uh-huh.
That's wild. So would that be like the mana veins? Because if I remember correctly, at least from me as a player's perception of how veins and arteries work,
They work normal, yeah.
Go into the bone.
Nope.
Yeah, so I was like,
But it
that's
looks like
weird.
whoever put the adamantine filling into the bones specifically looks like they tried to carve veins inside of it to allow something to flow through.
That's some precise work right there. I don't know how someone would actually do that.
Without the bones cracking, yes. It's very notoriously fiddly material. Very brittle. Anyway. Adamantine!
Yeah.
So much adamantine!
Yeah, stop yelling in my ear, God.
Kez kind of stands back up from
Might
leaning
alert
over
the
into
dragons that were back here.
Hold a clay orb up over his mouth.
Don't ball gag them, man, please. I can't take it. But nonetheless, so for the amount of holy water I can make within these next 2 days, we need at least 16 of these 8-ounce containers that would fill all the water I can make. However, we could always just keep going until the day is done, see how many we make. Because who knows, we might need containers in the future.
Just kind of shrug. How about how low is the sun at this point?
At this point, you have been traveling for most of the day and night. It's pretty much setting as it gets to roughly around midnight as hour goes by.
Okay. Yeah, we just like because I bought some bricks already to like make a forge while we were in town. That's where I got like the original lyrium brick from. I just like pop up to my my room real fast, grab the bricks, and like start setting them up and start like feeding them material to burn.
Okay.
And then just babysit it overnight and just let the work cook, as it were.
All right. As you kind of get set up, beginning to burn and scorch the pots to make sure that or vials that they'll kind of hold out, the night will go on. Anybody else planning to do anything as you watch as Eider kind of gathers up everything, getting set up, and heading up into the ship?
I mean, after these, at least the 16 minimum little containers are built, I would go to bed,
Okay.
rest up.
All right. Ned or Dom, is there anything else other than sleeping that you plan to do?
Ned would for a bit just kind of hang out with the goslings, kind of learn what they know already,
Okay.
and then end up going to bed,
When you
snuggled
say
up in the nest.
learn what the goslings know already, what do you mean by that? Are you
Well,
gonna...
like,
Uh-huh.
if they seem to have any magical capabilities, I mean, obviously they have some kind of magical capability, but
I say you saw the largest of the three, seemingly casting a spell on the tooth when you had ran into him last. So,
that's the big thing. Like, just kind of figure out if they know only a few spells or what's going on.
yeah, give me a handle animal. Let's see what you can manage.
Okay, I think I get a bonus because of druid. Oh, that's for something different, I think.
Wild empathy.
Okay. I know.
Ooh.
23.
All right. As you kind of look at the little the three, you realize that I believe it was Shui was the one doing magic. Yeah, 'cause it was the middle one. As you kind of look at them, he kind of starting to pet the creature or the poor gosling and smiling at him and trying to get him to do any sort of tricks or to show you what he had done to the wyvern. You watch as the little creature begins casting off spells left and right of magic you've never seen before. Creating little suns in the room at first, and that disappearing, creating a little disco ball that seems to sparkle and cause different rainbow-like effects. At some point, you watch as he seems to tap one of the other, or Fluey, kind of on the back, and the Fluey's little spirit comes out of the body as the body drops to the ground and then goes back into it and as the body stands back up. And he continues to show as he has almost what you count at the end of the night as 40 distinct spells that he can cast.
Okay then.
That's a large spell list.
And Ed, you're no longer the main character of your own character.
I will say, none of the rest of the party sees this. It's just you down below. As this goes on, not even
40
hearing.
spells?
Yeah, 40 separate spells. That's of what Ned is able to identify with the handle animal roll as he goes through, kind of encouraging the creature to keep going. Though after the 40th spell, they finally seem to kind of lay down, yawning and pass out. Seemingly casting another strange magic before they seem to pass out in your hands, Ned, but nothing seems to happen.
Is the strange magic letting undead sleep?
Good question.
Because that's a fucking wild one.
The creature, though, falls into your hand, seemingly unconscious. All right, for Dom, as Ned kind of curls up into his little nest now with the goslings processing and thinking, what do you want to do, Dom?
Been thinking about that. Everyone's been, so useful to the party and imperative to our plan, and I am among. I think there's not much I can do, so I think Dom would spend a bit before going to bed kind of just keeping a lookout and kind of standing guard. Would maybe go on like a bit of a trip, check in with everyone before bed to see if anyone needed like assistance with skill checks or other things, and then would just simply go to bed himself and just prepare for the fight that's soon to come.
Yeah.
I do not have spells to prepare.
Give me a search check while you kind of, or rather, sorry, a spot check while you kind of watch out for any creature.
I don't think the Wyvern Lake had adamantine, did it? Out of
Yeah,
character?
I just
got a bad smell and saw green.
Green inside the bone, yeah.
Oh, then yeah, I would tell Ida about that. Sorry, I didn't clock in my brain that meant it was adamantine. I was just like, green. Yeah, I'll roll that search check. That is a 18.
18. As you kind of go about, kind of stepping up on the above deck and kind of coming out of the ship, watching the night sky and enjoying the cold breeze. As you walk back over and look about, looking to see if there's any signs of any creatures, goblins, flying sorts. Nothing catches your attention as you look about the area. Even the lake seems to be almost quiet. No creature laying out there or any such signs of those that were flying beforehand. As you kind of head back into the ship around 1 o'clock in the morning now, you heading below to the second level, you see as Kez is already conked out, his door is shut, and he is asleep in his room. As you kind of go to look, the door not seemingly unlocking. But as you look over, you do see Eider still has his door open and seems to be at work with the clay pots or clay vials, so far working them into the kiln and scorching them as he pulls his third one from the fire.
Hard at work, I see.
I just kind of like rubs his eyes, like looks over, is like, "Oh, hey, Dom. Yep. Of course. Working with your hands never feels bad."
Not much of a craftsman myself, at least your kind of craft. More of a less intensive work, and he kind of makes a writing gesture with his hand. But I didn't come to chat about pottery. I realized after you were talking about that dragon claw, I can't be certain the noxious smell got to me, but the wyvern leg might also contain adamantine or whatever else you identified in its bone. It's far too big to reasonably carry onto the ship, but if you believe we could hack it up and bring some of us, I assume you could make use of it.
I pause, think for a minute, and less. It's dicey. I hate to leave around behind that much material, but it seems to grow in weight whenever you separate it from the underlying bits and bobs. I tried to do that to the.
Do you think removing
bone.
Do you think removing the flesh would do the same?
I mean, it's worth a shot. I'm going to try and be.
I don't think the crew would be happy, because especially to have rotting undead flesh on the ship for however long. The cargo hold isn't exactly aired, and kind of makes a gesture to the fact that there are like no openable windows.
There's no
really
windows at
down
all. It's just a
below.
solid chunk of wood,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
I get
So,
this. I mean, the other option is unfortunately just leaving it until we can come back for it. But I think we'll gather the party tomorrow and see what can be done about it.
right. You see, Dom kind of seems to linger for a moment and looks contemplative, kind of tapping his like clawed hands against like his wrapped arms. Look, one more thing before I go. I will also speak to Kez, but I won't bother waking him. These people, they're not good. I know that's obvious, but I mean it, what I said earlier. I'm going to be civil as I can for the sake of our quest, but if I lash out, I only ask you don't put yourself in harm's way. I don't want to hurt any of you, and I can't guarantee how I'll be if I encounter them. So long as I don't jeopardize the mission, I ask you let me do what I need.
Or like kind of like sets aside like what he's doing, like puts another like batch in the oven, all that fun stuff, and like turns and
Mhm.
kind of like regards Dom and says, "That's very vague. You seem pretty amped up there, Dom. What is it that you're thinking about?"
There's a lot too much to get into at this time of night, morning, I suppose, but this cult, these people, they're behind why I'm like this. They're behind a lot of suffering. I assure you, what they stand for is something we all disagree with. I don't know the full extent of my condition. Therefore, I do not know how I will be under moments of extreme emotion. I'm, as you've seen, rather collected. So I only warn you to stay out of my way so nothing happens to any of you. Genuine. It is not a threat or an intimidation tactic. You saw what, well, you didn't see, but you saw some of what happened when we fought the Gosling's mother. I don't know the extent of my abilities with that. I don't want to test them on you, should it come to it.
Like
And he kind of like clenches and unclenches his fist.
I'm sorry, Dom. You're not going to get me to promise to leave anybody behind. It's just not the done dwarven thing.
Well, don't leave me behind. Simply saying if I go overboard and it's not going to jeopardize things, if it's not going to get myself killed, allow a man a little rage. It's justified, I assure you.
Just kind of nod. Right then. I just like to point out there that it's better to let your revenge stew a little bit. I understand the desires here, but if we bring them in, then we have the ability to get more information about the cult.
Oh, I intend to logically bring them in for questioning, get what we can, deal with them after. But you should know, or I would assume you would know, in the heat of battle, logic is one of the first things to go. once the adrenaline is high enough anyway, we'll see. I'm worried we might not get to them before the dragons and the wyverns get to us, but that's another concern. Kind of makes a gesture.
Just like go back over, like put another pot in. It's like, what do you think I'm doing all night?
Right. Speaking of, I think I'll leave you to the hard work.
Their dwarven grumbles as you exit the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dom chuckles slightly.
Yeah, as you as you start heading back to the back of the ship and heading down the stairs to go to the bottom, where the storage is and the wagons set up, you see as Ned is already curled up and asleep with the little goslings all around him. That seem to kind of be curled up and just seem to be laying on him. One of them seems to be lightly snoring, as it sounds like the other two just seem to kind of lay there quietly. Ned is out cold inside the nest. As you kind of look about, nothing seems to be different or strange. Kind of as you head back up to the top deck, into where the captain. Yes, go ahead.
Just a quick question as I'm passing the goslings. I don't think I've had a chance to ask this because the session they were turned undead I was missing. Having the goslings' mother's soul, does Domnander notice any reaction from them or himself being around them, or is it completely just like he doesn't sense anything? Because I am curious on that matter.
Say again. Sorry, I missed something. I think I missed a part there.
All good. Being like around the goslings and stuff, does Domnander notice any reaction from them or reaction like within him because he has the mother's soul trapped inside? Okay.
No,
cool.
you do not. No.
Sure.
Sorry. No. I said yes as in I hear you. No as in there is no reaction. Nothing seems to happen,
cool.
or it's nothing. The goslings don't seem to look on at you with any hatred.
Okay. I'd say I didn't think so, but then the thought just occurred, and I was like, I don't fully know how this works. Cool. So yeah, back to the top deck then.
Yeah, as you head back up to where the pilots and the captain's quarters is just doing your one last round, looking out. You do see in the center of the lake, where the island was, there seems to be a large rock that's now about 40-ish feet tall and about 50-ish feet wide. That looks to be very cratered and seems to slightly steam a little bit as it's just laying on the center island in the middle of the lake. It was not there earlier, for note.
Oh, uh-oh. Can I spot search check?
Nothing
from
else
a distance, I assume it would be a spot.
Nothing else is out there from your check.
Huh. Just a crater with no evidence of like. There's no like.
Not a
smoke
crater.
or fire?
Just a large rock laying on the center island, just sitting there.
A large rock.
Yep, that's got a bunch of craters into its face. It looks to just be sitting there. It wasn't there earlier.
Oh boy. Is there? I forget if we've established or not. There are like pipes that lead into the ship that the party has used to speak. People below, correct?
There is one at the pilot's chair that Eider uses quite often, but it seems the only other connections are in the individual rooms. But yes, it does sound throughout the entire airship when you shout into it.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't want to wake everyone up, but Dom is kind of curious about this. I guess Dom will, while he's taking watch before going to bed, we'll just watch it and see if there's any sign of it, like throughout the night, moving or glowing ominously or like doing anything that's not that of a usual rock.
I mean, other than the fact that it's got craters in it and it's quite large, as the night goes on, give me a spot check and a listen check for your watch.
Yes, I will say. If anything is suspicious, I might take the gamble, boys.
Also,
This could be useful. Who knows?
how long are you staying awake, for reference?
I mean, logistically, I didn't take any damage. I don't have any skills that require rest. If I took a short rest, would I prevent any exhaustion?
Yes.
Or do I need a long
You do
rest?
not need a long rest. You just need a short rest at
I feel like,
minimum.
however, then Dom would stay up until the point that he needed a short rest, and then would take a short rest amount of time.
4 hours. Okay. All right.
Yep. So my, you said, what was it again? Spot and listen?
Correct.
Spot will be 14.
Okay.
Listen will be 8. Don't worry, guys. Still saving the rolls for the fight. Keeping all my nat 20s for later.
Yeah, as the darkness kind of seems to almost get blacker as the night goes on, sun setting, or having set a while ago, it gets darker and is almost to the point where you can't even see the rock that's at the center of the island. It's hard to see even 20 feet outside of the ship as you look about throughout the night. Kind of listening due to the muffled sounds from the thick walls of the airship. It's hard to pick up much. You hear the sounds of the wind blowing. That sound kind of almost like the sounds of a siren singing on the wind in the background. The occasional sounds of Eider swearing in Dwarvish as something cracks or breaks. You're not sure what, but you're wise enough to know that you shouldn't go check. As the night kind of continues on, nothing seems to happen as it seems almost quiet, too quiet. But as your 4 hours are up, heading down below to your room, Kez is still out cold with his door shut. Ned, as you kind of poke your head down into the storage at the bottom deck, seems to be out cold as well. Eider still it seems to have finished about an hour or so ago of working at the clay pots and has already kind of found a bunk to pass out in.
I think Dom doesn't want to risk swimming because he's not good at that, and shall head off to bed.
Okay.
And will get his short rest amount of sleep.
All right.
A quick power nap.
All right, as the night kind of goes on, you all kind of find yourselves resting and relaxing. Around 8-ish a.m., Kez seems to be the first to rise. Almost as a religious practice, Kez not being able to sleep past a certain point in the day. Kez, you find yourself kind of waking up to the sounds of almost the light snoring from amongst the ship, as nothing seems to have happened overnight from what you can tell. Your room looks to be all in order as you kind of put on your equipment and your armor and kind of spend your hour praying. Nothing seems to happen.
Vibes. After that, I'd go outside and just sit on the top of the ship waiting for people to get up.
Okay.
Just enjoying the view.
All right. As time kind of goes on, Ned seems to be the next to almost wake up, with the goslings seemingly moving about and running about as they look around, seemingly grabbing at what is now, as you kind of rub your eyes, Ned, you see a large pile of small little brown, what would be best described as like pellets, but as you kind of get a smell of them, it smells like cooked meat. As you watch the goslings seemingly pulling them off and chewing on the pellets that are just kind of laying there.
I would like to head up to the top deck and offer Kez some of nature's finest bean juice.
Alright, as you head up, kind of stretching, watching as the goslings eat, and kind of heading towards the stairs and climbing up. The sounds of Eider still kind of lightly snoring coming from the second deck as you find yourself climbing slowly and all the way methodically up to the top. As you see Kez through the window of the top or the top deck, kind of seeing him off on the tip of the ship, just sitting there watching out at the skies, coming above. And kind of out, you walking over, you see as Kez just like as relaxing as you bring a cup of a brown liquid.
Ah, thank you, Ned. I could always use a good pick-me-up in the morning.
Nothing better than some hot bean juice.
It'd be really funny if it wasn't like coffee, but if it was like pinto beans or something like that.
As you drink it, give me a fortitude save.
I hope it's
Chili
normal bean
beans.
juice. I hope it's the bean juice I'm expecting. All right, let's see. $23.
As you go to take a sip, these aren't the beans you're familiar with. It's sweet, it's chocolatey, and it's strong.
Ned, this is very delicious. What's in it?
Oh, just the usual. And I'll, walk off.
Noticing Ned doesn't have a cup in his hand, by the way.
Well, I guess I'll just keep drinking it then. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's chocolatey. It's very sweet. It's a little thick, and I mean, it definitely leaves a little bit of a want for water after, as you feel a little bit dehydrated.
That's some Turkish hot chocolate right there.
It's not horrible though, and it's warm, allowing kind of the breeze that's cutting into you to be kind of cut by the heat of the cup. As you continue to enjoy watching and kind of staring at the lake and the large rock sitting in the center of it. That wasn't there the day before.
Yeah, I was hoping I would get to hear something about that in the morning, if it was closer, if it moved.
It did not. As you kind of watch as the morning goes on, Eider and Dom, around the same time, the two of you kind of awaken. Eider more from a very deep sleep. Dom a light catnap that seems to kind of been more restless, allowing you just enough sleep to keep to keep the edge off. Though you do definitely still feel the slight loss of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let out an exhausted yawn and drag my carcass up to this ship deck.
I imagine as we exit the rooms, you would just see Dom looking tired, but still waking up, stretching out, just looking deeply unhappy about today.
Yeah, as Dom comes out of the door,
at least very serious.
Dom, as you come out of the door, you see as Eider kind of climbs off one of the bunks in the actual amongst where a crew would normally sleep. Not having slept in his room for note. As he kind of drags himself out in front of you, you kind of come up behind him as the two of you slowly start to make your way. The smell from the kitchen off to the side as you get kind of past the very short hallway seems to be of something very sweet and chocolatey on the air. As you see as Ned is coming down the stairs, nothing in his hand, but seems to be looking towards the kitchen as you look over and see a large pot filled with some brown liquid.
Did you
I
make
just want to
something?
let it be known that I have cracked open a fortune cookie and there was 2 fortunes in it. I thought that was very important to share.
How fortuitous.
Whoa, that's extra lucky. That's a good omen. What did they say? Post them in chat.
Yeah.
Said your character will be re-rolling soon.
How'd you know?
Congrats,
New characters on the horizon.
new things are in store. Big changes are soon to come.
But as you see as Ned kind of comes walking down and over towards the pot that he doesn't remember setting up or even making, Ned, you see as Dom and Eider kind of are dragging themselves barely down the stairs as they look at you.
What did you make, Ned? I didn't know you could cook.
Oh, Ned is on mute.
That's not cooking, he brewed.
He's Hebrew? I didn't know that.
Whoa!
I assume Ned kind of looks at you for a second and gives us a wry smile since he's still on mute, and I think he had to step away to take care of something. Yeah, as he kind of smiles at you for a second and goes over to the pot and just kind of looks at you a lot as he pours 2 more thick cups and hands them to you.
What is this shit?
As you take a smell, it smells like
second one?
it smells like thick like a heavy chocolate scent. The liquid, though, is thick. As you kind of poke your finger at it, it's more viscous than it is liquid at this point. It's slightly warm, and the cup around it seems to warm up to it. As you kind of look at, you're not familiar with this, Eider.
Hey, I'm just that glad that
Can
Yeah, go ahead, Dom.
go for it.
I was just gonna ask if Dom could use his poison crafting or poison making skill to check if this thing is poisonous.
Yeah.
If this has the qualities of poison.
Go ahead and give me either a knowledge poison making
Hearing a
or
light-
craft poison.
Hearing a light slurping coming from like the top.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
That
I'm asking
is
for
a 17.
17. As you kind of take a whiff of it, you're pretty sure this is the same kind of a drink that they feed to feline creatures or canine-like creatures to kill them quickly. Usually they do it in large vats and they just kind of force it down their throat. Supposedly it's the kindest way to kill the creatures, as they seem to have a look of euphoria upon death. However, as you kind of take a sniff of it, you're pretty sure the stuff's not poisonous to you.
Dom has the knowledge in his head of what this can do, looks at Ned, and you see, Eider would see a look of like genuine conflict and like almost what seems like for the first time perhaps a bit of remorse. Thinks of telling Ned, thinks against it, and just goes, "This looks great, Ned. Thank you. A word of advice," and he taps the mug. "Do not feed this to the goslings or Hootie. This stays a people drink."
You see Hootie, who is sitting up on top of one of the shelves, already sipping from a cup, or like dipping its head into a cup.
Hootie, no!
No.
Hey guys,
You're gonna want
I think I've lived
You're
in
gonna wanna
nature
stop
long
that.
enough to know what they can and cannot have.
Ned, I do not want to ruin your day this early, but I can assure you I know what they use this for.
The light sounds of rumbling coming from Hootie's stomach.
Oh no. It's gonna
You see
return
Dom
into a
look at
reverse
Eider.
firehouse.
Just
Well, hey, it's a
Just
good thing
look-
that that owls regurgitate their waste in pellets.
Not when you feed them chocolate, they don't.
there's nothing to get caught in the gullet and thrown up. There's
Hey,
no
who
bones
knows,
in this.
how long it's been since his last meal? He might have a rat in there somewhere.
You see, Dom looks at Hootie, kind of somberly lifts his cup up and goes, "A final toast." We'll throw back the cup and we'll walk upstairs, just not dealing with this.
Give me a second, let me roll for something.
Man, if Rudy dies, that would be so
Insane.
funny.
Hootie seems to misinterpret this and starts drinking heavily into the cup and starts like dipping its head into it multiple times, ignoring the increasing rumbling.
Oh no.
Yeah, do more research. What
He
kind
gets
of
gas
birds does it count
sometimes.
owls?
I flew the scene
I-
before.
Hunter, I searched owl. This is what I got.
As Eider turns and starts jogging as quickly as possible towards the stairs and up
As
them.
Eider follows Dom just goes, "Let it be said I tried. Let it be said I've done my good for the day." And just very
What a nice morning.
somber tone.
As
I really
you
like Tootie.
As you two kind of head up, Ned kind of looking, as you look up at Hootie, you see the biggest and the largest smile on Hootie's face that he can create as the stomach immediately stops rumbling, and Hootie continues to drink at the chocolate.
They really think I'd kill you?
He seems to hoot and kind of continue dip his head into the hot chocolate once more. As we cut
Where did
back,
you get this?
as we cut back to Eider and Dom kind of heading up above deck, seeing Kez kind of sitting on the top of the ship at the front of it, kind of staring at the large rock, admiring it, looking at it, wondering if it'll move or do something, and kind of looking about over towards the mountains every once in a while, watching for anything to fly about. The two of you kind of walk over, standing as Dom or as Kez kind of sits there, sipping at his drink.
Morning.
If a tragedy occurs below the deck, let it be known I attempted to prevent it.
I look over at Dom and like my left eyebrow raises.
Dom just like shakes his head ever so slightly, just like not important to the mission. Just I'm warning you as leader. And I'll go to take like a seat nearby. By the way, a crater-filled rock appeared in that land in the middle of the lake last night. And as I go to gesture, I look. Is it still there?
It's still there as Kez is kind of looking at it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's definitely unusual. Rocks don't tend to just manifest.
Look up. Look over.
Ryder? What does that look like to you? Anything special?
I look at it with my dwarven senses, with my dwarven
Maybe-
eyes.
Maybe there's a volcano underneath and it's just a pumice rock and it's floated to the top.
Boy, I'm doing dwarven things.
Yeah. I say, even with your stone cunning, I'll be honest, you can immediately tell that rock is not from this plane. There's no way. You've never seen a rock that has a slight reddish hue to it and large craters, and is sitting in the center of the lake. This makes no sense.
That is not from around here. I'm not entirely sure that is just a normal rock.
So that would make it more interesting for you, right?
Or deadly.
We could use any advantage we could get in the upcoming fight, if you think it'd be worth it. I'm not exactly eager to swim.
To be fair, isn't the river frozen over?
For the most part.
Oh, right. I forgot this wasn't like a big enough body of water to have not frozen. Okay.
I mean, the river itself attaches onto the ocean, but that's miles away. And this large lake, I call it a lake.
Yeah.
It's not technically a lake, because a lake means it's landlocked. This lake has 2 exits. That's just a big body of water that is in the land. Yeah. It's just got a major river running into it. Yeah. So, but it is it is pretty much frozen over, and the ice, from what Kez and Ned would have been able to tell from their day of gathering clay, is pretty thick. I'm talking like a good 10, 20 feet thick.
Okay, so it's not gonna fucking break.
No, you'd have to hit it. I mean, to crack the ice.
Yeah. You'd have to hit it a fucking lot.
Don't worry, if you fall into the water, I'll come get you.
I just kind of shrug. You still have that rope, Dom?
Dom pulls out his rope. He's got. Does not, being probably one of the heaviest members of the party, potentially given his size, does not look eager, but does kind of just quietly pull out the rope.
Yep.
Like tie it around my waist and says, "Oh, let's go on an early morning adventure." And I like sip my coffee on the way to the rock.
Yeah. As you
Do
take a
you,
sip,
like,
it is
pat
sweet
it?
as chocolate immediately.
Are you having like
Hmm?
Dom hold the rope or Dom tie it to himself? Are we doing like a rock climber thing, or do you just have a leash now?
I just have a leash. It's to
Hey,
be able to pull
look
my
at
ass back.
dog. He's a I look at one of the stronger members of the party and kind of gesture with the rope.
Kez, because Ned's down below.
Lawson.
Even if I was there, I think Ned would have looked at his scrawny ass arms and just shrugged. Dom knows what happened the last time I had a rope in my hand.
That's true.
I arch a brow at Kez.
Why don't you just tie it off to the ship?
I think it's
It's only, like,
longer away than 50 feet.
Yeah.
Alright.
Kez sighing, taking the rope,
Tie
climbs
my
down.
rope to it, and I hold up my 50-foot of rope.
Ned kind of pops his head out of the
I
thing,
forgot
kind
about
of
that.
looking at. You're good. No, you're fine. As you pop your head out, kind of seeing and hearing the end of the conversation as the rope is being kind of like handed to Kez. As Kez does not seem to want to take it at all.
Yeah, well, as long as I get to keep drinking my drink. Ned, I want more.
I'll see you in the morning.
As Kez holds up his cup of the chocolate liquid.
I'll leave my glass up here. I'm gonna head down to the shoreline.
All right.
As you start to climb or kind of set the mug down by the top or by there's a word and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank so badly. Door. We'll just go with that for right now. But as you kind of climb down, the two of you taking the rest of Ned's rope. Ned, how much rope did you have?
I also had 50-foot. I think whoever bought it bought 50-foot for each person.
Okay, so you have 100 feet of rope as you kind of start to climb down the rope ladder off the side of the ship. Finding your footing on at the bottom of it as you begin tying it around Eider. Are you just going to kind of hold it then, I assume, Kez, like a dog leash?
Yeah, well, so essentially,
Or a child leash, I guess would be a more accurate way of saying
I'm also
this.
gonna tie it around my
I'd like a
waist.
safety line, but keep dehumanizing me.
It's
Well,
like
so-
it's
here's
like
the
a
plan.
mother out in the morning with her coffee in one hand and kid in the other.
And we don't call it a
Just very
safety
tiredly
line.
walking
It's
along.
not.
Alright.
We don't believe in
Well,
those.
I'm fucking
here's what
going
I'm
to
doing.
something dangerous. I just want you to be able to pull me back. Jesus.
So what I'm doing is I'm gonna tie it around my waist. I'm gonna sit on the shoreline, facing towards where Iris is going. Dig my feet into the ground as I'm sitting down. So if I'm ever pulled forward, I'm kind of anchored myself in. So I have a good
Okay.
Dom
base.
Dom will be nearby in
Okay.
case Kez needs to be grabbed in case something bad happens. So I'll just be arms crossed watching with Kez, just like giving Eider a thumbs up if he ever looks back at us.
All right.
Because to be fair, Ida doesn't weigh a whole lot less than I do.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, a whole lot less than I do.
All right. Yeah. As you kind of dig your heels in, tying yourself off, tying it around your waist. You look at Eider and kind of give a thumbs up. Eider, as you kind of step your first step onto the ice, kind of trying to crack it, shoving hard onto it. Nothing seems to move. Nothing seems to make any noises. No sounds. Looks to be fine. It's about 50 feet from where Kez is to the rock.
Gotcha.
So,
Because I'm feeling just purely spontaneous and the winter wonderland has gotten to me, I'll fucking slide on my fucking stomach like a penguin.
You're still in your armor though, correct?
Do it?
All right. I say you're still in armor. That's okay. As you start sliding,
That probably be better to glide across than
sliding forward. Realize that he can't slide back. He can't push himself backwards while he's on his belly. Is the idea because the armor
Yeah, I mean,
would
he's
dig
gonna be
in.
going forward, and
But
he's
yeah.
not going to be good at changing direction. That's for sure.
As you start pulling yourself forward, give me a strength check. Let's see how far you launch yourself in the first round.
Whee!
You should have let Dom bowl you to get over there quicker.
Right. We need
Nah,
someone.
dude, curling with Eider.
Yeah, right.
Give you a push.
Curling with Eider, what a giant squirt.
Either as
Curling.
you kind of pull it, yourself, kind of lay down yourself, pull forward. You launch yourself about 20 or so feet, getting about halfway across roughly. As you start to kind of grab into it and start pulling yourself the rest of the way. It's cold. It's not comfortable at first. Laying on ice is not your kind of idea of fun. But the chill is surprisingly not as bad as you'd expect.
Feels like home.
Yeah, as you pull yourself finally towards the center, Kez on the other side just barely, or still barely holding on to the rope as you still have a good amount of rope room to kind of continue with. You get up to the large, now, roughly, as you now get a good look at, it's about 35 feet in actual height. And looks to be made of a solid reddish rock-like material. Though, as immediately, without a listen check, you hear something from inside seems to be making a strange humming noise.
Oh, that's not good. What the fuck? Now that I'm like actually in front of it, is this rock or does like this look like maybe an egg? Since I know something is inside it.
It's solid. It seems to be solid stone. I mean, even without even with a light touch of it, it seems to be made of some sort of rock. It's similar to like granite, from what you can tell in material and texture.
I like poke into it with like the gauntleted finger of my hand. I just like scratch at it and see like how much of it like comes off.
Immediately, only small little chips do. No humming change. No nothing. Seems to continue to be the same.
I just like press my like hands are like into like the I'm calling from far away thing. And just like try and yell into the center of this thing.
Yeah.
Hello?
As you shout into it, a few moments go by as you kind of wait and listen to it. And put your ear close, turn your head to the side to see if you hear anything. Nothing seems to come back.
Danger or curiosity? That is the the balancing act here.
There
So this
is.
thing, is there like any kind of like residue that this thing is like left behind on like the floor below it?
The ground below it, immediately as you kind of look, it does look to have like some blackened marks. The snow has been melted around away from around where it seems to have impacted. And the dirt, the little bits that seem to be visible, seem to be charred and black in coloration.
Gotcha. I would pull out a chisel, but honestly, just like poking it with my gloves is more efficient. Because like try like start like scooping out a pocket of the thing. Notably because adamantine ignores material hardness. I can just go whoop.
All right, yeah. If you want to.
Yeah, just like a little bit at a time to see like if anything happens.
Yeah, as you kind of start to push onto the material and try to see what will happen. The material seems to bend and break pretty comfortably to your hand. The bits towards the bottom of the stone seem to be harder, though towards the top it seems to be more crumbly. As you kind of push in, the material kind of turning to a dirt-like quite quickly and almost to ash as it falls away. As you kind of start to push, you do feel a little bit of resistance. Something that's slightly glass-like, as you can feel your fingers dinging against something. Though the rock around it seems to keep it still hidden.
Gotcha. I was like very confused for a moment. I started like carefully trying to like excavate it away from like whatever that glass material like is.
You see immediately a sparkle of something bright and red that seems to glow. Remind me, do you have any spellfire slots currently?
At the moment, yeah.
How many?
I haven't refilled, so 0.
0? Oh, alright, cool. As you feel your hand kind of getting closer to it, and as you kind of push away the rock and the bits of ash that seem to easily break away, the glimpse of red for a moment seems to cause your body almost immediately to go into a shock. Give me a fortitude save. Yeah, no, I got that. You're good. Yeah, I figured. Okay. That's why I was making sure to. That's why I asked a second time to make sure I understood. So.
Gotcha. Does magic or poison apply?
Magic.
18 total.
18. As you manage to keep yourself upright, Kez and Dom from the distance, it looks as if Eider has just been like electrocuted as his body starts to jostle. He seems to, for a second, almost look like he's about to fall over as he seems to right himself and letting go of whatever he was touching on the rock, seemingly as the jostling stops about his body as he rights himself.
I give the rope like 2 tugs, just like a tug, just kind of to see if he's still doing his thing.
Either you feel the tug as the electrical spike throughout your body, though it doesn't do any damage to you, causing a little like numbness. You feel the light tug suddenly on you as you kind of get yourself more or kind of refocus your mind.
Yeah, I like turn and like give like Kez like a distant like wave for a second. And then what I have, because like my goal was to like excavate it to where I could actually like see it. So it's like this big like red crystal.
It looks like it. From what you can tell, this crystal goes further into it. You only see a small fraction of it, no bigger than your pinky, that you can easily tell looks to be thicker and pushed into the rock.
Yeah, like my
Can
immediate assumption is like this thing just goes the whole way through.
can we see can Dom and Kez see what it kind of is from
No,
where we are?
all you
Or is
can
it too far away?
tell from the distance at this point, with it being kind of right in front of Eider, it looks to be Eider's body's kind of covering it up from where you're standing. So all you see is that he seems to be excavating or working at the dirt and rock on the stone, kind of cracking at with his hand.
Okay. Do you need assistance, Eider? And Dom will kind of like call out.
I need to be really careful about touching this thing. I'm not sure what it is yet. I want to clear out a little bit more, and then I think I'm coming back over. This is weird.
Encouraging.
Yeah, I don't like it showing up alongside the necromancers.
Dom will just kind of keep watch, and in case Eider begins to like seize up and have like more convulsions, we'll be prepared to help pull the rope with Kez.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm staying on land for now.
Alright.
I finally get back with Kez's drink.
As you kind of come down, walking over to him, and
Just about to call for you, Ned. You're awesome, bro.
now as you watch Eider on the distant of the center of the lake, kind of working away at some giant rock in the center of it, that seems to have appeared from nowhere.
Where'd that rock come from?
Excellent question.
Well, that wasn't an answer.
Because I don't know the answer, Ned.
Oh, well, why didn't you say that to begin with?
A little bit of inferring and... Nah, I apologize, Ned. I'll be clearer next time.
I appreciate that. I hope you enjoy your drink.
It's wonderful.
You do notice that this is a little bit thinner than the last one he gave you. You also do taste, for some reason, the strange taste of a rotting corpse in it. That seems to be just the slightest hint that kind of gives a bite to it that you weren't expecting, Kaz.
And a little mossy taste to it, too.
I don't know what moss tastes like. I didn't know it tastes different. Good to know that.
That makes scotch
depends
taste
on the
different,
moss.
apparently.
Fair.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Well, I guess nothing's as good as the first. Sequels are never as good as the original. And I'll keep drinking.
Not knowing what that means at all, Ned, as we jump back over.
I'm sorry, I need to put that on record.
Sequel.
Kez tasted a rotting corpse, went, gamey, and kept drinking. What the fuck?
Yep. Look, welcome to your party.
Jesus.
Eider, as you not registering the distant difference in taste, because you're not tasting the drink.
You're not there, buddy.
And looking at the rock, are you gonna continue excavating, or are you gonna head back to the party? Do you think? What are you thinking?
I was gonna clear like a little bit of a larger section so that I could like see into it.
Okay.
At this point, making sure like more careful that I don't make direct contact with the gem itself.
Okay.
That seems to be bad juju.
Yeah, let's. I don't think you have profession minor. At least I assume you don't. So I'll just take a d20 roll, and we'll do it plus your strength mod. 16. As you kind of work away the stone and rock, kind of pushing it away and digging your gauntlets into it, making very clear to avoid it and trying to more crack the stones from the side of it to pull away or towards the chunk of gemstone or whatever this object is. As you kind of begin to work at it, you manage to get about a 2 2 foot section of it kind of cleared out in front of you after about a good 10 minutes of really working at it and tearing at it. As you look on, the material seems to be almost flash bright red and seemingly reacting to the sunlight. Kez and Dom and Ned, as you're sitting at the shore, kind of watching Eider pull away at the stone, a light reddish glow begins to kind of erupt around Eider. Eider, as you continue looking at this stuff, what do you want to do?
Does it look like there's anything like inside of it? Like, does it look like there's like cloudiness, like a gemstone?
Kind of looking into it, it does seem to have a liquid inside of it that's moving, almost like a like electricity crack, like it following like how electricity does with its multiple rivers and focal points. It seems to kind of spread out amongst the gemstone chunk that you can see, like electricity. As it moves, the sounds as you can hear, the humming seems to be it moving, the liquid moving through the material.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is mysterious as fuck. But we've got undead dragons to kill, and I think this thing might kill me if I keep fucking with it. So I'm gonna go back to the
You
party.
said,
Yeah.
you said we could kind of see what it looks like?
A red glow coming from around Eider as he kind of finishes up digging. Yeah, Eider, you said you're gonna turn back to the party.
Yeah, there's not a single thing that like I can do to identify this from what I've seen. Like no information at all besides like this thing is possibly from just a straight up different plane.
The rock itself is even foreign. That's the thing. This doesn't seem to be at all from this plane of existence. You've never seen anything in a book. There's no material. There's no roll that will give you any information that you seem to kind of catch for this.
Gotcha. Yeah, this thing looks like some kind of fucking giant fuck off egg. Like, from what I can see, like I've peeled away some of the outermost shell. There's like an inner shell and like an embryo inside is like what Eider is assuming, and just doesn't want to be here whenever it fucking hatches. Because this thing is massive and shocked the bejesus out of me for touching the out the inner shell. So fuck that nonsense.
All right, as you kind of turn and start walking towards the party, kind of slowly walking upon the ice. Are you sliding on your belly across again?
A little bit more worried about like now that I've like opened up some of the egg. Probably slide on my knees instead, mostly so I avoid like falling.
Yeah, as you start to kind of lean down and pull it with Kez kind of grabbing hold of the rope and assisting, the two of you start to kind of pull across. As the glow seems to get a little bit brighter and a little bit more pronounced as Eider's body kind of moves out of the way and gets closer to you two. It doesn't seem to like the dirt doesn't or the rock doesn't react or anything. It's just the glow becomes more pronounced now that his body isn't blocking it as he gets closer to you. But as he does, the light red glow seems to kind of almost drown out the light sunlight that was in the area, and as Eider finally reaches the other side of the lake, you watch as the little bits of stone that had fallen to the ground seem to pull back up and attach themselves, covering up the light source.
So what was that all about, Eider? What's going on over there?
Oh, that is a About how tall would you say this thing is?
35-ish feet tall. Yeah.
Ah, yes, that's about a 35 tallish mind fuck, as what I would describe it as. So
I've never heard of one of those.
A little bit more detail into what you saw over there.
you know, I wish I had any. It's
So
a
it's a
gigantic.
mind
Yep, it's a giant rock. Underneath the rock is crystalline red. I touched it; it shocked the hell out of me, and I nearly went paralyzed and comatose. Inside of that is a liquid of some kind, which moves and hums.
I'm sure I know.
It looks
the
like a
answer.
giant fuck off egg, and I can't be bothered to deal with this shit.
Well, were you able to discern whether it was like good, evil, and stuff like that?
Nope. Well, god damn it. 1
Ned,
second.
Ned, go ahead as well. What were you saying?
Has Ned ever seen any egg that even remotely resembles this?
I'll take a knowledge nature or a nature check. Or see if you've got either.
Knowledge, nature, it is.
I can hear Eider typing profusely.
19.
19. As you kind of look at this, you think for a minute. There's only one creature you've never seen the egg of, Ned, that you know lives near this kind of area. That is dragons. If this is a dragon egg, that is the biggest dragon you've ever seen. It is the only thing that kind of comes to mind, but you have never seen a creature that hatched from something this large.
So, I don't know for sure because I've never seen one. But this might be the biggest dragon egg I have ever seen in my life, which is also the first. But isn't it a coincidence that it's both at the same time?
In that same breath, I've also got a question. Since, of course, me and my father were gem crafters, and my father a gem crafter for a jeweler for a very long time. Had he ever talked about like crystalline eggs or just large crystal objects?
No, not at all.
Listen,
I'll tell you what. Give me an intelligence check, an intelligence check, and we'll see if anything pops up for your jewelry knowledge.
Thank you.
Can I also make a roll for Dom?
Yeah.
Can I see, and if need be, Dom can tie the rope on and go to have a semi-close look, but does this seem at all familiar to the area Dom saw in his vision with like the black and the red and that strange dragon creature? Does it seem reminiscent of that? Because I believe there was glowing red stuff explicitly described in that.
Give me we'll call it a intelligence check as well. What'd you get, Kez?
Just a 13.
13. Thinking back on it, there's not really any crystal material that you've ever heard used as a shell. And that would be a jeweler's dream. What dream if there was a creature that had such a strong shell? There were rumored that dragon eggs, like especially gemstone dragons, specifically their eggs were made of gemstone and crystal-like material, but no one had ever actually seen one outside of the Dragon Lords and the actual King of the Dragons. Those eggs are more guarded than any treasure in the nation. So it could be that, but again, to your own knowledge, nothing fits the bill. That is not true in the slightest for what you asked, Dom. You are not sense motivating will not reward you. I do find it hilarious though. All right, would you roll,
If
Dom?
I sense motive enough non-human things, I feel like I'll unlock some kind of psychic ability
Right?
to sense the innate
I
will
think you
of objects.
mispronounced. It's actually a psycho ability.
Yeah, right. You go psychotic because you don't trust anybody. You have to sense motive everyone.
Questioning your blender.
Yep. What'd you
I
get for your
sense
knowledge?
motive myself
Right.
and to create a black hole.
Or your intelligence check. Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna believe this. An incredible roll, impeccable.
You're rolling right now, aren't you? Okay.
I already rolled.
As you,
I'll be honest. I did a test roll after this. Nat 20, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But I got a 4 because of course.
As you think back, the memory is hazy. This could be coincidental. This could have something to do with things. You don't see a dragon anywhere nearby. Nothing kind of comes to mind. Also, Eider, you did not get any evil aura off the object.
Hey, it's just like shrugged to the rest of them. It's not evil. We can't move it. We can't interact with it. And we have undead dragons to kill. So this is interesting as all hell. Kind of need to do something else first, though. Unless anybody else has like a plan to I don't know what the hell to do with it. This thing's fuck off huge.
You said it affected you through your gauntlets, like through your adamantine.
Yeah, like when I touched the actual like inside portion that's glass, like gemstone.
Do you think it reacts like that when touched, or does it react like that to metal specifically?
I like turn, look back over, and like realize that the thing is like resealed itself, and say, I'm not sure you want to find out.
As-
Can
as-
Dom also look over and notice it's resealed?
Yeah, I was to say that as you all kind of look over seeing this for a second, kind of looking at the rock. Yeah, it's completely resealed itself back up. It looks like its original state before Eider started working at it.
So it can regrow. Actually, quick question. Now that Dom is thinking about it, mentally going over while he's watching last night, does it seem like the rock has grown passively throughout like the hours it's been here?
Give me a search check.
Like, because now that Dom's like, this thing can regrow. Can this thing just continually grow? So he's trying to recall if it's gotten larger.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
quite peculiar because when Ada broke it off and it repaired itself, like the piece that got broken off flew up and reattached itself.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
Yep.
You said search?
Yep.
8. I'm eating all my dice.
It looks like it is not good. It hasn't gotten any bigger than what you saw last night.
Well, I suppose we can't do much with this in terms of our quest, but this should probably be brought up to Reagan Utham and researched into. Does anyone have a map we can mark?
You like pull out one. You notice I've already like marked down the location of the fucking cave that we were at with the black marker.
Mm-hmm.
Right, not like make a little scribble of like a rock with a little red circle inside and go egg? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Not good. Underlined, underlined, underlined. That's just how I imagine Ida writes.
Ida just says like a little like quick runic script. He's like written in Dwarven. For those that, well, for absolutely no one except the fucking audience. It's just Dwarven mindfuck is what he's labeled it.
Fair enough. As you guys kind of continue staring at, as Eider kind of listed off, kind of looking back at for a moment, and with the realization that there's nothing to be done, are you guys kind of getting onto the ship, or are you guys going to try and go and get the thing, or get the object, or break off pieces of it, or something?
You could take the rock part.
Well, didn't the rock part reattach itself?
Yes.
Yeah, it reattached itself.
Well, close.
And like the size of this thing, one, I don't think it would fit on board. Like just actually fit on. And
yeah, no,
two,
it's like what,
like,
35 feet in like diameter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted a sample, we could see if a tiny piece would be movable, or
Nope.
if it would reattach.
Nope. Just gonna.
Man,
I'm just gonna point people to it.
This is the first time I've seen you scared of minerals, Eider. You're usually so fond of rocks.
Look, that rock is alive.
Very
So
alive,
sure about
I think.
all
Rocks
this.
can't be
Clearly
alive.
magic.
As you kind of look back towards it for a moment and look back towards the ship, it doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't seem to move or react. The rock stays the same.
Well, I've got a couple days worth of holy water to make. I'd say we just best be on our way.
Nope.
Agreed.
I've got 16 bottles to fill up with holy water.
As you turn back towards the ship, kind of untying the ropes and kind of one by one heading over to go get on and get in.
It was like if it wasn't for like the imminent and impending undead dragon threat, might be a little bit more curious. But given that they could show up at any time, I really don't want to be between a rock and a hard place of unknown alien clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Just say we could crack open the rock and see if it'll mess with the dragons. They've got metal in their bones.
Be my guest. I'm not fucking touching that thing again.
As the airship begins to take off, we're going to take a short intermission for the players. We will be back momentarily to the audience. All right, we return back. Cool. As we...
Also-
yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to point out, like, also to like remind like out of character for Dom. I couldn't dig into it with adamantine. Adamantine ignores material hardness. So this thing is ridiculous if I can't break it with adamantine.
Oh, I'm well aware. I'm well aware.
I don't even think I can like break off a chunk of it for you.
That's why
period.
we need it. I need gauntlets inlaid with this gem so I can punch the hardest of people.
But as you lot get aboard deck, you've got about 3 days of travel. Kez has already made clear that he will be working on the holy water the majority of the time. So going down, Eider, you're driving the ship majority. Is there anything in specific that you want to do besides flying the ship?
I don't imagine I've got enough like I don't think there's enough time to be able to do anything like significant. So
Okay.
just keep us safe by flying and not being a fuck ass and not paying attention to the sky.
Yeah, watching for that one wyvern that flies like hell. Okay, got you. All right, as you continue going, give me a search check if you wouldn't mind. While you're kind of watching the skies, looking out for the creatures to come back.
16.
16. You don't see anything that catches your attention. As you kind of spend the next 3 days traveling. We will come back to you, though, momentarily. Dom, you've got 3 days. Kez is busy working away at getting the holy water put together, making sure that it's set up and everything is keeping to. Eider is working away at flying the ship. Is there anything you wanted to do?
I don't think 3 days is enough downtime for me to do anything significant skill-wise, so... I guess... I'm trying to think... I don't have the materials to... Well, poison wouldn't affect them. I think Dom will, focus his efforts into, helping... Like, once the pot container, like the clay, like, little pot... breakable baseballs we've made are crafted and Kez is making like blessing holy water. Dom will assist in like filling them all, kind of doing the grunt work of like filling them, capping them, however, storing them, like just helping Kez and Eider kind of where he can because he can't do any of the magic stuff. And I'll also obviously be doing my fair share of keeping watch, keeping guard. All of that fun monk stuff.
Okay. As you go, kind of going about the ship, there's not much to do, and mostly just kind of practicing and training. Something kind of hits you for a second as you are flying. As you're working about, you remember expedition, and I'm just giving a reminder with the concept of the downtime. You remember that the expedition is coming up within the end of the month, meaning that any downtime your party does take, if you're planning to get attached to that, you only have roughly a little less than a month to do so. So, something to keep in mind. As you continue kind of going about, though, okay, I'll keep that in mind, actually. Never mind. Jumping then next to Kez. Kez, besides working about your the water, is there anything else you'd like to do?
Pray to my god.
Okay. Any specific prayers?
Guidance, please. What should I be doing? Just, the whole, God, please tell me what I should be doing.
Give me a wisdom check.
And hopefully this time not more any super fucking cryptic things like 3 days.
Instead, Dom gets a
check?
message that says 3 days. Yes.
Oh, shit. Alright, wisdom check.
Wouldn't be the first time I developed sudden prophecy.
I know, right? We were just talking about that.
23.
23. As you kind of spend your 3 days working on the water, praying to your god, looking for any sort of guidance, you begin to kind of drift in and out throughout the days, almost in a haze as they seem to go by at almost a quickened pace. Your mind is seemingly led to a darkened desert that seems to be all around you. As you continue to walk in this black sand, these large dunes kind of everywhere around you, you see buildings kind of coming out of the sand and then being swallowed up from it in the distance all around you. The sounds of laughing and crying seemingly intermingled. As you begin to hear a light voice on the wind, as it kind of continues to vibrate almost into your body as you hear this. My son, you've chosen a difficult life. Why do you seek guidance in such tribulations? Kez?
No, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. I was like, did your headphones die on me here?
No, I'm like, okay, I didn't expect to be asked a question.
You wanted guidance.
I know not if the path I walk on is the righteous one.
You serve me quite well for the mission that I have granted you. Your life was one meant to be plain and with little significance. That has been robbed from you, my child. The future you now lie upon, I do not see a pleasant end for you. Whereas before, I could see your curse abating with time. Now I fear that it will become the one thing that is the easiest burden for you to carry. There's a world you're going to see. It's shrouded in mysteries and lies. I wish for you to know, well, you are not my champion. You are one of those I wish to see take on that title soon. And with that, those who would seek to see my end will see your end in these shadows. A red shadow is going to be coming for you soon. One that you need to fear. He seeks the death of one of your traveling companions and the end of your church and belief. When he shows himself, do not fight. You will not win. Any time he shows himself, he has already planned it and knows what's going to happen. I ask that you be prepared to deal with this and understand that you can't win now, but with time I think I can grant you the power to take his life. The only thing that stands between that moment and now is the ability for you to survive. Kill and carry out my beliefs. That is what you need to do now. Become the sword that is needed for this church. A sword that is feared. And lastly, know that your companion, the one who stands to gain from your fall, will cause you more trouble but will be a grander ally in the end than any detriment. While my beliefs are strict, I welcome them as long as they serve and protect those that you are looking to fight for. Now go forth and be my sword. As you feel the sand starting to pull your legs down into it, kind of almost swallowing you up. This shadowy figure of a woman kind of appearing and disappearing almost in the distant sky as the dark sand seems to pull you further and further. You start to see as your head gets almost to the point where it's being swallowed up, skulls starting to pop up all around you, and as you find yourself falling through the sand, you see countless bodies around you, thousands of corpses fallen at your feet. Though you don't sense death for a moment that you would cause these individuals, it seems almost as if these individuals came before you, taking up a similar cause, none succeeding. as you find yourself suddenly almost awakening from a restless sleep, sweat dripping down your face, kind of standing over a barrel of water, clay pot in one hand, and kind of looking at the water itself as you kind of start to grab a bit of silver to toss into the clay vial.
Back to work.
As you get back to work, okay. Ned, anything you'd like to do?
So I would spend pretty much most of the time split between tending to the goslings and trying to work with them, teach themselves to hopefully defend themselves a little better.
Okay.
And then also keeping an eye out up on the top deck, kind of watching.
Give me a handle animal and a search check.
All right. So 13 handle animal.
Okay.
Search. And an 11 search.
With 11 search, as you kind of, you work amongst the goslings, they seem to take to your orders very well, seemingly able to execute orders as you kind of tell them to defend themselves. They seem to understand and attack anything that you point at, managing to even hold a little area of their own as they seem to hide behind the engine when you kind of give a command to hide. They manage to hide up behind it, and then as you come around, they seem to hiss at you and kind of bite at your fingers until you command them to come back out. They seem to get a general understanding of how to defend themselves over the 3 days. As you spend your free time kind of looking as well, watching the skies, looking for any creatures, you do notice as the mountains themselves seem to have heavy water flow coming off of them and down. There doesn't seem to be anything, though, flying around the mountains. The skies are clear. The mountain itself looks to be just covered in heavy snow. Nothing seems to catch your attention. But as the 3 days come and go, you lot finally make it to the edges of, or the top of the mountain, coming within almost 100 feet on the third day, as you all kind of gather together in the top deck, looking out as Eider slows the ship down as best he can. As you lot start to come within range, you lot all gather looking out, seeing no dragons, no signs of any nests, no cave entrances. The mountaintop itself looks to be just hefty and thick snow all the way down for hundreds of feet.
This is gonna suck. Let's get stuck in.
It's time to get stuck in the mud.
All right. As you head down to land the airship, where are you heading with it?
Is there a cave that I can like stash it inside of?
Give me a search check. Let's see if you can find anything.
I use my stone cunning because it has to do with rocks. 17.
17. As you kind of look about the mountain, it doesn't take you long to notice a large cliff face that seems to be kind of sticking out on the opposite side of the mountain as you circle around. That seems to be big enough for your airship to land on. But as you kind of come around back around to the side, you do see an open cave that's about 70-ish feet in width and length that seems to kind of expand out about 60-ish feet down from the peak of the mountain.
I just gotta just lay the thing down and say it's gonna be a bit of a climb, but nothing we can't handle. Also keeps the airship hopefully safe.
It's times like these where I wish I'd gotten the flying part of my storm giant side of the family.
All right, so you setting it down in the cave? You said.
Yeah.
Okay. As you go to land into the cave, bring the ship, you do immediately notice as it comes into the entrance, kind of dropping down. The caves are filled thick with what looks to be thick spider webs almost going all throughout it. As you look down the area, the cave itself comes. It seems to be narrow, pretty not narrow, but thin, shallow. There's the word. Only going about 60 feet back, and then it seems to go into a smaller cave that immediately does a hard left turn. Kind of cutting off your vision from there, but you can see spider webs and cobwebs all above the ship and at the top of the cave. Though no creatures seem to be wiggling about it.
Can I inspect the webs? Seeing if it's more of like a whole bunch of small spider webs, or if they are in fact created by much larger spiders.
Yeah, I'll take either a knowledge nature or a search check.
I will also look at them.
Okay. Same thing, knowledge nature or search check.
Alright, let's see. Knowledge of nature, because I have that.
Me too.
17.
17.
18.
18. All right. As the two of you kind of look up, looking at the spider webs, it's pretty easy to tell that it seems to be these are a bunch of smaller spiders have set up their basically webs at the top, capturing what looks to be bats and such. And I do say small as in at the actual size category small, not as in like they are like the hand sized or smaller than that. But these do look to be a bunch of individualistic spider webs. They look to be somewhat empty, as you don't see any prey wrapped up in there, and most of it looks to be really thick.
Alright. Listen,
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to bother us.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing I wanted though was like, to deal with like us-sized spiders. That would have been quite regrettable.
Oh, that'd be a problem.
Yeah, especially if they're us-sized, that'd be horrible for you, Eder.
Yeah. I like think for a moment, like pat my axe and says, and them.
I pat my hammer.
Well, my axe is fucking verminbane on it, so.
Oh, fair enough.
They would have a bad time.
As you kind of head into the cave, or I assume jumping down off the ship, kind of climbing down as a group slowly, you look about the cave. There doesn't seem to be immediately any sounds. You hear the wind blowing through and can almost feel the cold wind coming through from further in the cave. Okay, good to know. All right, either as he's charging up his spellfire levels at the top of the ship as he watches the others go down.
And as for the distribution of holy water, since there would have been 16 these were 8-ounce containers. Each of us are going to be getting 4 of these holy water containers.
Okay, so you can add each of you can add 4 clay 8-ounce holy water vials.
I think I'd probably give mine to Dom and Ned, because I have ways to. I don't need them with the way that I've got the attack set up, and I don't want them to run out.
You sure you don't want any holy water on you?
Maybe 1, just in case.
Okay. Listen, the whole reason why I was distributing is because I wanted to make sure that everybody had at least some on them.
Yeah, I'll keep 1 just in case, because it could be useful if I get there's some combination of effects I think that it would be useful to have around.
Plus, I have no idea what my holy water will do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, okay, I'll give 1 to Dom and Ned each.
Okay.
Because I think making sure that they don't run out is of paramount concern.
Okay. So yeah, as you hand out the vials back over to Ned and Dom, after kind of taking only one of them, tying it onto your belt. You are, as everyone, just to make sure, are we all just getting off the ship and heading in?
Yep.
All right. I know Dom's on mute, so.
Eder,
I would turn to the goslings and stay with Hootie. Protect the ship.
You see Hootie's eyes go wide at that Ned and horror as the goslings seem to immediately look up at him and just stand at attention.
It would be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing to me, man?
They immediately start bullying Hootie the moment we're out of eyesight.
Good question.
Who's about to lose a few feathers and have male pattern baldness by the time we get back?
Yeah, as you all head up, Hootie kind of in terror, kind of trying to follow after Ned, chasing after him. But as you close the door behind you, you watch as Hootie just seems to stare from the windows, the tapping of its head against the wall or against the glass, as it's trying to get your attention, Ned, as you climb down the side of the ship. The last thing you see as you climb down is just Hootie's sad-looking eyes. As you do, Eider being the last one to climb down behind, you see as the goslings just at the last second are grabbing hold of Hootie with their wings and pulling him away from the window.
Just like give Hootie a look of very stark concern, but I've got shit to do.
You turn and climb down the rope, accepting it. Following right after, you see as Ned, Kez, and Dom are already kind of taking a few steps towards the cave, getting kind of to go ahead and explore as you run to catch up.
As I walk away from the ship, I'll just be like, I'm glad they get along with their uncle.
They don't. They dragged him away, kicking and screaming.
That's just how goslings love their uncles.
I have no social graces, and I understood that he was very upset.
All right, I
I
know.
didn't say he loved them. I said they loved him.
So I know I have dark vision. Who else?
Low
I've got
light
the
vision.
I think I've got the best dark vision of y'all.
Because I know I have 60 feet.
All right, I've got it.
Yep. Suddenly, I was like, wait. Alright, so 60 feet. Eider, you have what, 60 feet as well?
I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure dwarves have 60 feet.
I believe so, yeah, for base. Alright, and then I know Dom and Ned do not, unless they have something special.
Say less.
Because I know when
believe-
we were
But we
building,
only have low light vision.
Yep.
because I know when I was building
Let me pee
my
on
race, just because of my combinations, I was still given dark vision. I don't know if you guys still kept it with your mix races.
I'm not a mix.
You got yours because you're a Storm
Well, if
Giant.
you're not a mix, then you should, because
No.
Fire Giants had dark vision.
No, it's Storm Giants that do. I'm pretty sure.
When you sent me the message, is that you said Fire Giants have 60 feet of.
I have low light
vision.
vision.
I can check this right now for you, mate.
Because that's what you sent to me. That's what I have listed.
I'll double check after session. We'll take a look.
Chris, I did send a PM, by the way.
Thank you. They do not. They have low light. Yeah, I don't. Storm Giants again are the only ones that I know of that have dark vision.
Gotcha.
No, they don't either. I think it might be some. Oh no, I know why you have dark vision. I know why I gave it to you. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not because of that.
Alright, cool.
Correct. That is correct, Dom.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I would only have the low light vision that Fire Giants actually have.
Yep. So, as Eider and Kez kind of take the lead, guiding the four of you or the group through the caves, as you kind of come into or start walking forward, taking the immediate left turn. Give me a listen check, everyone, as the caves begin to kind of come alive with sound.
Drip.
My
That kid
ears
got
are
drip.
The kids got drip.
so
Kid's got
keen.
drip.
First good roll. Oh my
15.
gosh.
Okay. 17.
25.
25. All right, and Eider. Oh, Eider is a 7. Never mind. Kez.
29.
Oh my God, Jesus.
Damn.
Okay. Well, Kez hears the pin in Utham's room drop as Utham just is working on a letter in the background.
Wait, hold up. That was wrong. I was looking at a different modifier. 25. Sorry.
25. Okay, I was gonna say,
Okay,
damn.
I was like, better than me.
But as you lot kind of focus in, Kez and nothing's in your room. Don't worry. Kez and Dom, you pick up the slight sounds of footsteps, kind of just prattling away in the distance. It picks up from. It sounds like it's on the other side of the wall, and further into the cave itself. As it seems to, the footprints seem to be going outside. As you can hear for a moment the sounds of something crunching on snow, and then it dissipates almost completely. Eider, And Ned, you managed to pick up the sounds, as well as Kez and Dom, of something metallic, sounding like almost coins being dropped onto each other, onto the heavy ground as they seem to clang against each other. As the heavy sack kind of drops, it seems to almost ring lightly throughout the cave. But that's all you managed to catch before the creature dissipates, or whatever it was dissipates. As you kind of continue on through the cave, going left and following to the right, as you come to a fork, finally with two different directions. Seeing around you, the cave itself just seems to be a normal heavy stone, no ores or anything that seem to sparkle or shine within the walls. You come to a point where it looks like there's a fork in the road going right or to the left. As the stone around looks to be just a bunch of bones, dust scattered about, and pieces of bone, shattered bone, kind of in the corners. The heavy cobweb still above. The room looks to be not well traveled, as the dust looks to be completely unbothered. Either side of the pathways look to be completely dark and turn almost immediately.
Yeah, it's just kind of a crapshoot which way we go, I think. I don't suppose, like, with stone cutting, there's like any obvious like cutting or like intentional cutting of the stone to make it like easier to traverse, or like these are just kind of natural caverns.
It's natural caverns almost completely.
Well, are there any claw marks from like the moving dragons?
As you look at the sides of the walls, there are no obvious marks at all. The walls are pretty solid.
And the floor?
Same with the floor.
Okay.
No, that's fair. That is a fair question. So.
Okay. All right. Want to call it a coin for it? Or did you hear the... I guess what direction did the thing come from? Or was it
the sound would have been to your right, yeah.
To the right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good as any.
Instead of actually saying it, I kind of nod my way over there, because, I mean, they probably already know we're here, but might as well.
Yeah. As you turn, kind of Kez, leaning your head towards the direction, Eider seeming to nod along. Oh, Eider got a nat 1. They know. Yes, they do know.
No, he did not. He rolled a negative 10.
Is that a negative Oh.
Yeah, that's what my move silently is.
I forgot about it. Yeah, they definitely can hear you walking about.
Clank. I should have picked up
every tree branch that shouldn't be in this cave, he finds and snaps loudly.
Yeah, maybe I should have picked up that that spell that ignores the armor penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Should have carried him
and hide.
like under the arm like a football, just to keep him quiet.
Hey, maybe we should get Eider the boots of deafening silence. Be so loud they can't tell from which direction you're coming from.
Boom.
As you kind of turn and come around the corner with the group, the sounds of Eider's armor rattling as he does so. Kez not much quieter with the heavy metal he's wearing. But as you come around the corner, almost immediately the cavern opens up. Still heavy in spiderwebs all above you, but you see as about 30 feet to the south of you is another cave opening where you can see clear small footprints kind of leading out. However, what catches your attention is that the central pillar to this wide open cavernous area is a pile of coins, longbows, full plate axes, and even leather armor, as well as an individual that looks to be in thick wizard-like robes. Only noting because of the fact that they slightly glow in the darkness, as the bluish color all around them kind of covers the individual's face. They look to be a very large-looking frost giant, and their hands and legs are bound in a very thick rope. They seem to be completely unconscious as they're just laying there.
I assume is the armor like frost giant size, like actual like large, or is it like from like the Kobold lands?
The armor looks to be almost all of it is large. Yeah.
Okay.
Look at all this treasure. We don't have room on the ship to pick up.
We'll figure it out. I mean, we've got a few. I look at my bag of the Devourer, which I don't know it's the bag of the Devourer, but my very fucked up bag of holding, which I have yet to put my hand into.
I have a bag of coining.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bag.
Good job, Ned.
All right, let's circle around to the bag part. We've got other things to do.
So there's just an
We've got a
unconscious
person held
guy
hostage.
at the top of this.
Small pile. Yeah.
Would you say this small pile is more like a horde? You know.
I mean, it's piled up on, like, the weapons and armor are kind of all piled up in a small little, you could call it a horde, as you look at it. But as you look about, there's no obvious signs of claw marks or anything anywhere.
Peculiar indeed.
I will say, you're only standing at the entrance to the cavern at this point, not having moved into it. The individual does seem to be kind of like slumped over the pile, so to kind of keep in mind, it doesn't seem to be moving, though their chest is kind of moving up and down lightly.
In that case, I would like to cast Death Watch.
Okay.
Which this just gives me the ability to see within 30 feet if a person is, alive, near, like near death, dead, or if they're undead, that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
So after I send this off, I'll slowly move towards this pile to get a read on the current.
Eider's typing profusely. You might want to check for a second before you take a step forward. I was gonna say, Kez, as you kind of take a step forward, you see as Eider kind of places a hand on your knee to stop you for a second as he looks up at you.
Small creatures plus caves usually equals goblins. Goblins equals traps.
I put my hand forward as by all means.
Okay. All right. Dom, mind giving me a hand just in case?
Yeah, Dom will seems to nod along and agree with Eider and will cautiously move forward to help assist you in scoping the place out for traps.
Because I am not good at finding traps, that's for sure.
Alright. Does anybody actually have the skill for trap searching?
Let me double check.
I do because of stone cunning and because the traps would have to be in the stone.
Yep.
I was
trap
just
sense.
if you're not a rogue or similar, you don't have it. I'm just gonna put that for.
Yep. Oh no, I know.
I do have.
No, I'm putting that for the
escape
players.
artist.
They know they're not
Does
looking
that
for
apply?
Nope. You can give me a search check though, as far as it goes to see if you can see anything. It's just it's gonna be at such a high DC. Just keep that in mind. And then for Eider, in this case,
I beefed it.
Yep.
I beefed it hard.
Go ahead and roll your. Oh.
Yeah, I got a 14.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll carry us, Eider. Look at my incredible roll.
Hey, that could count as an 8 another and make 15, which breaks some
I was
trap
gonna say,
DCs.
I am 8 another, so that's
As you look about, it looks too obvious, but there's no immediate the stone there's no stone carving, there's no changes in the stone. It looks all natural. Everything seems to be normal as you look about Eider and Dom. No traps come up immediately. If there's one in here, I mean, this is as blatant as it comes.
Then Kesnok would just be, keep your eyes peeled. I'm gonna get closer. Make sure nothing comes from above us. Blah 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 blah. You know the drill.
All right. All right. As you kind of watch the entrance Eider turning, Kez, you take a couple steps forward, and immediately your death watch does not go off with the individual laying on the pile. This creature is not near death.
Gotcha.
They are not
Not near
fragile.
death,
They are
undead.
fully alive. They are not undead.
All right, cool.
As you kind of get closer to the pile, something seems off, but all the looks like a ton of items just laying here. The individual seems to be just breathing as if you don't hear any snoring, but they could be unconscious. They could be asleep.
Does this, to me, look like a natural cave, or does it look like man-made?
As you look about, it's pretty cleanly cut. You're pretty sure this is natural.
Okay.
There's even almost clear water lines on the sides of the walls where the water has eroded this cave over many hundreds of years.
Smooth, bumpy walls.
With little lines on them that show imprints on the stone of where the water used to sit. Yeah, as you continue to watch either towards the exit or the entrance where you heard the creature walking into the snow, kind of paying real close attention. Well, rather you heard, or the rest of your party heard the sound. Kez, as you walk closer to the pile, looking at it, it seemed. I mean, what do you want to do?
And so this is a frost giant in robes sitting at the top here.
Yep. On top of a pile of gold pieces, silver pieces, some bows, a vial or two vials of a liquid, a thing of full plate, a thing of half plate, a great axe, as well as some leather, studded leather armor. I will write all that down towards later. Don't worry.
Eider, could I get an alignment read on this guy?
Oh, yeah.
He's not evil.
I just flash a thumbs up.
All right. Should we cut him free?
Just because he isn't evil doesn't mean he's not nefarious or possibly possessed.
Oh yeah, I mean he could be chaotic. Hell, he could be true neutral for all we know. God, chaotic neutral, that would be a bummer.
We can cut him free though. Well, let's just wake him up and check what's going on.
All right. Who wants to climb this obviously completely stable pile of goods?
I'll do it.
All right, Eider.
That question was kind of more pointed to the two people who don't have heavy armor.
And don't have to actually make a climb check, because they're tall enough just to, reach the individual. Don't think we want...
I really enjoy the thank you, Eider, for the fire. I appreciate it. However, that question was not directed towards you. Me looking at Ned and Tom.
I can.
We'll be fully honest. I had a little bit of a tech issue. Can you repeat the question?
Could somebody, if they can, climb on the totally air quote stable pile of goods to wake up this guy? Looking at me and I with heavy armor, who would have to probably make a climb check and have negatives attached to it.
Dom will begrudgingly, well, not begrudgingly, cautiously eye the pile of goods. The man who's tied does not feel good about this, but knowing he's likely the only one equipped to recover if things go south, will crack his knuckles, kind of limber out his limbs, and I will climb up to the hostage. Not our hostage, just a hostage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a huge pile.
It's not an actual climb. He's slightly off the ground, and it's higher than Eider, so that's why I made the joke. Eider would actually have to climb up. As you walk over to the small hoard of items, walking over to the individual, kind of standing there, he's currently at a point where he's roughly about your chest in height off the ground. As you kind of stand there, kind of looking at the individual, this is definitely a fully grown, or what you think is a fully grown frost giant. A little on the young side, but you'd guess them to be probably around roughly your age.
Does he, just because I've been in the lands and I would have a chance, does he look familiar, or?
He does slightly look familiar. He does not look like anyone from the village or the city itself. But for some reason, something about him is ringing familiar.
Now,
And that's
I
because
have a
all frost
question
giants look the
because I'm
same.
hoping if I get this on, nail this on the head, you'll be very kind to me. Does this young frost giant look similar or related to the exile guard we met a few days prior? Do they share facial features?
He does, in fact, look almost like a miniature and younger version of the individual.
Now, if I recall, the individual listed the eldest, who is a problem, and then the second son being eaten. Did he mention any other children, or was
No,
it
he
just
said the
two?
youngest was the problem.
Oh, the youngest. Oh, the youngest was the problem. Second eldest had been eaten.
He did not mention what happened to his eldest.
Okay. So Dom glances at the figure, and the people, the group would see Dom's face kind of narrow into a cautious, very like calculating gaze, and will turn to the group, speaking quietly, but obviously enough that the group can hear. This is the kin of that man we met. This is either the one we're after or a relative. Do you want me to try to risk waking a spellcaster?
To be fair, we knew he was a spellcaster. He's got the wizard robes on.
No, well, that's why Dom's asking if the party wants him to risk trying to wake this individual up.
Yes.
Could always move him onto the ship first.
I mean, he's at least binded. It'll be a little harder to cast.
Unless
yeah,
he's
but
got
if he does manage to unbind himself, I don't want him to. I don't want him to be on the ship when that happens. Just in case he does lose it.
Cast a fireball on all of us in our very explosive ship.
Our ship isn't that explosive. Also, he straight up cannot cast unless he's got still spell.
Well,
And-
do we know what the level of the guy is? Of the bad guy?
Nope.
No.
He is a cult leader, seems
Bro,
currently. A small cult leader.
Well, is it the bone dragon, or is it the wyvern? The cult leader.
Whoa.
Race car.
The one who
A
had
giant fly
the-
soars through the caves. A
Okay.
giant dragonfly.
Go ahead,
With
Kez.
buzz of its wings.
If I was correct, it was the dragon with the wife's soul was the kind of
The skeleton
right?
wyvern. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the leader right now. So, this could still be one of the people who brought her back, though. And nonetheless,
Would
it'd be
be
her son.
his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Time's ticking.
I
Let's
think
pick this up.
I think Dom will take. I imagine he has like a sash or something like monk attire that's just like extra cloth. And will kind of wrap it in a hand to be able to use as like a quick, forceful gag
Okay.
if needed, because he's aware spellcasters need verbal to
Okay.
cast most spells. And with his other hand will attempt to like wake up the individual, see if he can get a response.
As you do so, start shaking him. Give me we'll call it a heal check for this. See if he comes to consciousness.
I think my heal is actually decent just because of my wisdom bonus. Yeah. Actually a really good roll. That is a 21.
I'm proud.
All right.
I have spent time with Kez in the clinic, and you see Dom seems to remember and do some of the training we did together.
As you lightly tap him on the cheeks a few times, not happening, kind of getting frustrated, trying to be very nice. At the point you start going a little harder, there's a point where Dom is just beating this individual's face back and forth, and they are not waking up in the slightest. As their cheeks kind of swell slightly after Dom gets a little annoyed at the situation, kind of setting them down, looking back at you, the individual does not awaken.
I wonder if he's been
It did not work.
Sleep. Dom,
a
can you
check.
bring that gentleman down here?
I could certainly try with my strength. Before that, can Dom using that heal check or making another or my poison crafting,
Uh-huh.
see if this man has been like poisoned with like a knockout poison, like something that would put him to sleep, because I work with that substance.
With that heal check earlier, unless you have knowledge poison making specifically.
I do. I
Then-
can roll that if needed.
Yep, go ahead and roll that.
Be decent, motherfucker. 9.
As you look, the individual doesn't seem to be poisoned. There's no signs of any sort of wounds on them, no liquids in their mouth, nothing that shows a sign. There's no temperature. Nothing seems to affect the individual. However, as you do move their body about to check them, a letter does fall to the ground with a what looks to be a heavy leather kind of binding to it, as it's kind of tied in almost like a scroll.
Okay.
Sound
Gonna
Right.
gonna read that shit.
All right. As you open it up, it reads, "Blessings to the adventurers who had messed with my children. I give you a gift, the one you seek for the quest that you have been given in exchange for the hunting of me and mine to be let loose. I am not your target, nor does the quest require you to kill me. Thus, I leave you the body and the mind of the individual who had caused all of the issues as the quest required, as well as the items that I have acquired during my time here. I hope that these are enough to convince you that you can move on, as I have left the area and do not intend to come back. I have taken my eldest with me, and I leave you my youngest. If that is not enough compensation and you continue to choose to attack me, there is a contingency planned for such an event. I let you know this so you understand that I do have all intentions to kill you if you do not retreat. Yours truly, the mother who is serves."
Can I have that posted?
No, you cannot, because I just made that up on the spot.
Damn.
You can
Give
go.
me a second then.
You can go re-listen to this, or
Clip it.
Okay.
you can go re-listen to the video next week before session.
All right.
I guess Dom will read the letter with like a very clearly growing more and more frustrated and upset expression, and will curse in giant. So Kaz and Ned very clearly understand Dom like hissing out curses under his breath.
I will say, Eider, I believe, speaks giant.
Oh.
Oh shit. Dom said the J word.
Dom's
Unlike
not
you,
keeping
racists.
the rating PG.
Yeah.
Dom looks at the party and kind of goes, "The Wyvern, she gave over the youngest to us in exchange that we stop pursuing her and her followers. She's taken the eldest and is fleeing. She claims if we follow her, there's a contingency plan and she'll kill us."
Well,
And I'll kind of like,
no. Go ahead. Okay.
I don't think we're equipped to take them, but to let them get away, it is not good.
I agree.
My blood boils at the thought of what they're getting up to. And I'll kind of like... Oh, sorry.
No worries. Well, it is regrettable. I don't see a way that we can track these dragons and wyverns through the sky. As you said, they have left, and well, if we do ever run across them again, we can cross that path, but I guess we could always, pack up all this stuff first,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we'll take a look deeper into that cave further on in. I mean, the dragons are gone.
Yeah. I definitely think we should take what we can and keep this one unconscious. If he's the youngest, he's a threat if awake. And as Dom's saying this, he's actually actively gagging the guy at this point.
Okay.
Just in case. But we once we get back to town, Regan Utham, the guards, they need to know about all that we found. There needs to be measures taken. I can assure you, this is worse than a necromancer's cult, what we're dealing with here, and what they can accomplish left unattended.
We're dealing with Dracoliches now, huh?
No, there's still a stark divide.
I don't think here's the best chance to describe what I know, but let's just say the thing they worship, Kez, what it stands for, what it does, would make your mother weep. Ella Ugbo, all you believe in, it defies everything. Its very existence would give your goddess heart palpitations. As he kind of finishes, he's very roughly tugging the knot tight on the gag he just made.
Mm-hmm.
Me kind of looking at
Making
you weird,
sure.
like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I already kind of got that whatever was here I needed to take care of, but yeah, cool. I'll let you do your speech.
Let me monologue.
Yeah, you know what? Like, listen, a good monologue could always bring someone up.
As you kind of put the gag around the guy's mouth and kind of tie it off, pulling him off or down the loot pile, he seems to roll almost as if he is dead as nails. Not the body seems to be limp completely and heavy. But as you drop him down off the pile towards the rest, or towards Kez and Eider, down towards the bottom of it, you see as the chest continues to rise and drop slowly. The individual is definitely alive. They're just not seemingly responding.
All right. I think I'm actually Levitos. What's your strength?
It doesn't matter. You're larger than me.
Yep.
It's not high. It's definitely not enough to lap your size bonus.
Yeah, that's fair. Since I'm the strongest, I'll drag this guy.
Okay.
You guys start bringing back and forth the loot.
All right.
I'm gonna I've let the interaction go on for a while, but Eider speaks up because this stinks to high heaven to me.
Mm-hmm.
Both in and out of character is I don't know that I believe this. Not even a little bit.
You want to sense motive the paper?
No, I just say out loud. I'm I don't need to sense motive to be suspicious. Damn it.
Yes, you do. Well, actually, no. Dom's always suspicious. I don't think I trust it either. We should keep looking.
By all means,
but
I do not trust
also
any one bit.
do believe she'd throw her kin under the bus to get away.
I don't.
We should.
I believe she would. The thing I don't believe is that she's quit the field that easily. I think it's a ruse. And I think it's designed to make us complacent. And possibly as an ambush.
Would be very fitting to use underhanded tactics like that at the sacrifice of their family. And Dom kind of glares at the unconscious guy.
Now, in all honesty, I haven't seen them in the sky since the night of the ship when we landed near the lake, but there's explanations for it besides them just leaving. There's the other part of them.
Hiding, waiting. The wyvern might have gotten spooked when she realized we came close to breaking that collar of hers.
I mean,
Oh.
granted.
I will
I
note, you
believe-
never fought the wyvern skeleton.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we fought the other zombie one.
Oh, the other one. Well, but do they both have?
They might.
Mhm.
No, they might, but they're different creatures entirely, and we have not seen, except for like very passingly, the wyvern skeleton.
Yeah, we fought against the bone dragon and the zombie wyvern, but we didn't fight against the skeleton wyvern.
Right. Okay, so she's
The
got
zombie wyvern
another
had
collar that's
had the
different.
collar that was holding back its rage.
Yeah, we
Gotcha.
have no definitive proof of anything that the bone wyvern has on them in general. We know they exist, and that's about it.
Nonetheless, I think we still take this stuff and maybe take a deeper look into this cavern. I mean, they've left, but I still don't want to leave any stone not unturned.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't know if they actually have, or if they're just trying to tell us they have. Because honestly, if they think about it this way, they tell us that they've left. They find a quiet enough hiding spot. They simply don't do anything. We leave, and it's at least 6 weeks minimum before anyone could possibly come back out here. And in that time, they can fortify or do whatever they want. Known terrain is better terrain to fight on. These people strike me as somewhat haughty, arrogant even. I don't know that they would just leave something that they are claiming some kind of quasi-ownership of.
I would be inclined to agree. And even if the wyvern and her trusted soldiers did leave, it's very likely they'd have left some of the less important followers behind to hold down the fort, and I would like to clear them out.
Nonetheless, mission's a mission. We could stay longer, look out for more, lose this necromancer, and just fail altogether. Or we can complete the job that we were assigned to do, and then come back on our own time.
That, again, is the entire thing I was saying about 6 weeks minimum to come back. My point is, that guy doesn't seem to be coming around for a very long time. We've got enough time to make sure and comb over this place to make sure that they have actually left. If it's just wild paranoia, then great. If not, then... well...
Okay, let's get the stuff in the ship, and we will search this cabin.
Can
we
I?
all agree.
Yes, I will just ask that before we leave, you allow me to ensure this man is kept asleep.
Because I
Put
will
in
say,
a-
if we're all out there and trying to see more about where these dragons have gone to, which might be the contingency that they were saying, this necromancer might wake up in our vessel and do who knows what, unattended. And I'm not fond of dragging this guy around with me.
Ned, could you have the
I could have the
goslings
goslings
watch it?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Ned, for once, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, we are on the same page.
I'll hold my hand up.
Sure
and high
hope
five.
the goslings are capable of
I'll
doing
high five him. And then immediately wipe my mossy hand off subtly.
Well, I would imagine they are capable. I, the other night alone, counted about 40 spells. And almost lost a couple fingers.
40? I'm not a spellcaster. That seems
Alright, guys, we
unusually high.
don't got a lot of time to kill. Let's get a move on.
Yeah, Dom is, I assume, like, helping grab stuff, but just looking at Ned incredulously.
As Ned kind of mentions this, as you guys kind of start to grab the items and start to kind of bring them back towards your ship, you begin to hear and feel the cave starting to rumble as you reach the entrance where your ship is parked, and watch as rocks start to fall around it. And that is where we're going to end today's session. We thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time when I kill Eider.